All right, all right. Good morning. Hello, hello. Don't be afraid, I am here. Don't be afraid, I have arrived. Don't be afraid, I'm here. I have arrived. All right. Hello, hello. So, two main stories I want to cover today, both equally important in many ways, for many reasons. The first, a cultural story, a story of culture. The second, a story of power imbalances and patriarchy, and men once again taking advantage of young girls. It is what it is, you know? Oh, Chet says, love the color matching today. Thank you. If you like my earrings, okay, you see them. Inspired by Mia. I follow her on Instagram. You can check it out. She makes great earrings. Love her. Shout out to Mia. Okay, now, the first story is about culture. But before we talk about that, I just want to have a little tee-hee, have a little laugh, have a little relax, okay? Even though this isn't that deep, well, who knows? The truth is, it is that deep. So before we get into it is that deep, that's, okay? Here's something. Listen, it's goofy, but honestly, if you get it, you get it. You get it, you get it. Ready? Girl, listen.
I want to edge in my room. I'm gooning all of the time. I mug myself like a Giga Chad, drinking KSI's Prime. I want to edge in my room. I'm gooning all of the time. You say 6, 7, easy. Stuck in the big 25.
Oh, so much talent,
I want to edge in mine.
I want to see you hit those notes. Okay?
I want to edge in mine.
Oh, it's sorrowful. It's engaging. Inspired, really. Inspired. Okay, listen. Listen, I'm old enough to know this isn't for me, but I need you to know, as an old person, I enjoyed this. Okay? The yearning, exactly. The vocals, the yearning, the passion. This is why I say, most music, you don't even have to know the lyrics to cry. Girl, I could have openly cried to this song and been like, I don't even need to know the words. It's it's good. Music maxing. Yes, music maxing. Listen, we're going to talk about culture moving in here, about Sabrina Carpenter and culture. And I just want to say there is something really important about understanding and engaging in culture. See, when you engage in culture, what you're engaging in is shared something, customs, music, language. You're communicating through something that feels warm and inviting, and you feel like you get the joke, right? So maybe you listen to this and you didn't get any of the jokes, or maybe you listen to this and you're like, man, what is this? Or maybe you listened to it and thought, I don't need to know what this is. But I want to connect this that seems very unserious to something super serious with Sabrina Carpenter. So this happened at one of her recent shows. And, my sister talked to me this morning. She texted me right away. She goes, what the fuck? And I was like, what the fuck? And then we sat there. We weren't even mad about it. She just said, what is this? And I'm like, why did she do this? Okay, listen to this. Watch.
I think I heard someone yodel. Is that what you're doing? I don't like it. That's your culture, is yodeling?
It's a call of celebration.
Is this Burning Man? What's going on? This is weird.
she thought she was being funny, I guess. But the minute that somebody tells you something is their culture, like, the only appropriate thing you can do is say, okay, and move on.
Other fans caught it. They're saying you couldn't hear it clearly, but it was clear enough to respond like this, and you're still calling it as a gruta, as a yodel. Yikes.
Did somebody say Zagruta?
Then she apologized and said she couldn't hear clearly, and it's a whole thing. Okay, so as an Assyrian, we do this as well. Mine's a little different. I noticed that they go back and forth with the tongue. It doesn't matter really. The sound is the same as the sound of celebration. So without blowing out my mic and hurting your ears, my family sound more like, I don't know if that sounds the same to you or not, right? But I want to explain to you why that sound is a sound of celebration and connection and not a sound of, you know, it's not a weird sound. It's not a sound of terrorism. Because I'll tell you this, after 9/11, people would hear that sound and think negative thoughts. But like if you've gone to a Syrian wedding, if you've gone to a barbecue, if you've gone to a hangout, if you've even just like clapped, like if you're celebrating something, sometimes they just make that sound. And so for her to be so weird about it, now let me tell you this. The TikToks and the jokes that have come out of it have been really funny, especially from Arab people or from Middle Eastern people in general, West Asian people in general. It has been so funny. Okay. Right. So like, look at this. It says you're an Arab at a Sabrina Carpenter concert.
Oh my God, I'm having so much fun. Look at this, watch this, watch this. Stop a show. What the fuck are you doing? No, I'm just having fun at the concert. It's like, I'm Arab, this is my culture. I'm just bringing my culture here. Does this look like the Middle East? Security, please get him out of here. What the? Oh my God.
Listen, that's a little bit what I felt like. Okay, here's another. This one, I was dying. Look at this one.
Girl who did the kalalali at the Sabrina Carpenter concert.
Okay, wait, so it's the Arab girl who yodeled at Coachella, so POV.
Sabrina, I love your sack. Kalalali. What? No, Sabrina, it's because I like you. It's like, it's to celebrate you. Yodel, but what's a yodel? This is like your song, the one that goes, win, kalalali. No? Okay. I'm Arab. It's cute. It's like a culture. Kalalali. You don't like it? You're the Arab.
Fuck. Okay, people are so funny. Okay, we have such a good sense of humor. Okay, now I will say this sense of humor is a little bit tongue-in-cheek because it makes fun of her cover album, which is why I was so critical of the cover album, because this is kind of playing into the patriarchy of it all, but... Oops. Uh-oh. I mean, you gotta mind your P's and Q's, girl. Okay, you could have made it fun, but you had to poo all over the. You had to just disrespect. Now here were people who were upset on Sabrina's behalf.
Controversy at Coachella is exactly why we're never going to be able to have true woke progress as a society without inspiring a wave of anti-wokeness to bat us down. Because we only have two settings. We overreact to everything. We have I love you, and we have I'm coming for your head with a pitchfork. Sabrina was headlining Coachella, had a million things going through her head, and got distracted during a quiet, soft piano moment. She was confused, and people want her head on a spike. It's an overreaction, and that's the type of stuff that...
Okay, he's playing Sabrina in the background. I'm gonna get copyrighted. Relax, okay? First of all, we're being pretty funny about it. You're welcome. But second of all, it is really that deep. That sound, which is a celebration, is often associated with terrorism because of Western propaganda, because of white supremacy, and because of American propaganda, US propaganda that you are falling for every day. So it kind of is that deep. And look, we weren't even gonna make it that deep, but now we have to make it that deep. And what's even worse, and this is what here's the problem with this, okay? Because again, even like, you know, maybe Arabs or other people will start like, oh, you know, I'm Arab, but like, maybe we don't do this, maybe we do this. Listen, okay? The idea is it wasn't even that deep, but then you made it weird. And now we have to say, why are you making it weird? Which then turns into a whole cycle of if you didn't make it weird in the first place, it would have been weird. And just a reminder, Let's listen to it again, because all the people that were like, it was during a quiet moment of her song, it was a distraction, she distracted people. Listen to it again. So all these people are yelling, right? You have clapping and yelling. And yes, it's a unique sound. But if you know anything about culture, it's that unique. Like, girl, Sabrina Carpenter has had to have never interacted with any West Asian, nothing. Like, you have to be in such a bubble that you've never heard the sound, which is fine. But see how it's not fine because your unculturedness makes you bigoted? You see, if you were just like a little cultured, you could have had like a great moment with your community, but you made it weird. So here is another celebrity who also had something similar happen. And this is her reaction to a fan making that sound in the crowd. You know, she's positive, she's encouraging it, she's engaging. And so, see how it could have been so fun. It could have been so fun, Habibi, but you made it weird. See how you make it weird? Okay, but here are some other people's opinions. Let's see.
Start this video, let me just say I am Arab. Second, I just can't take you guys seriously with this Sabrina Carpenter thing. For one, it is super performative from so many people, and on the other side of it, it just has no basis in reality. Comments saying what's happening in the video, oh, that's not what's happening in the video. I just watched it 5 seconds before I recorded this. I'm struggling to see how nobody else is realizing that Sabrina thought they were making fun of her. Like, what the fuck? He asked what it was after a few people did the call, and somebody just went, it's my culture. Okay, they didn't say this is a really important aspect of my culture and yada yada. They said, it's my culture. And that's when she asked the question. And then the person after that just said, it's a call, okay? And that doesn't tell Sabrina Carpenter anything about what that is culturally. People at music festivals are fucked up on a bunch of shit and weird, okay? Sabrina Carpenter was on stage and people were making sounds and noises at her that she did not understand and were not explained to her, okay? I don't know how people are not understanding her confusion. You guys are acting like this is like an isolated... Sabrina Carpenter is standing in front of one person and they're talking about this girl's culture. Like I said, performative as hell, because literally in, I guarantee you, a week, people are going to be like, it's been a little overblown. Then you're going to start seeing the videos that are like, well, that's not what she actually said. You guys will nitpick these little incidents for weeks, months even, like tearing apart people's entire personality and identity for like 20-second clips, okay? And then you guys will turn around and just keep supporting shitty ass people for their entire careers. I can't.
Okay, so you listen, like maybe that makes sense, and maybe on the surface that's definitely what it feels like. And I could hold space. I'm gonna hold space for that perspective because I get it. And also, I do think a lot of us have to put aside any grasp or any chance we have of being represented in any capacity because we, quote, want to make people comfortable. And I think there's something there that I want to talk about because there was also this video, which I'm realizing now, did I not properly save it? Let me see. Hold on now. Oh, there was like this perfect video. Did I not save it? Where's my phone? Ugh, I have to go look at my history. No, you have to see this video. No! Wait, hold on. Can I see my TikTok history on desktop? Or is it weird? Hold on. No. I had this video. Hold on. Would I really not have it? No, I have to show it to you. It's very important. It's very important. I've got to show it to you. I don't have it here. I'm really mad. Hold on. Why this not here? Why I sit down without my phone? Because it is charging. That's why. Damn it. No, I have to go get my phone. I'm a professional. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me go grab my phone. I have to show you this TikTok, and it's on my history, but I can't find it on desktop. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Do you see what we do here? It's so hard being a content creator. I have to run and get my phone. I'll be right back. You have to see this TikTok. Oh my God, listen to how crazy this is. I swear I saw this video this morning and it is nowhere on my history list. Wait, let me see if I can find it a different way. I can't believe this. Like, this is so weird. I just saw this video and I thought, oh, I'll show that on stream. And now it's nowhere in my history. Could they have taken it down in the time that I saw it this morning till now? That is insane. What? It literally shows her doing it again. Like, I just went through my whole history again. Maybe it's in middle of one of these TikToks and I didn't realize it, but it's a video of Sabrina on stage with another artist, and the same thing happens where somebody does like a celebratory sound and she's weird about it again. She's just like this, and the other person's like making like happy movements to it. It's a chant. It was a chant. Like, Sabrina reacts to fans chanting. Let me see if that will bring it up. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yesterday report showed.
Don't. Sabrina reacts to fans chanting. It feels like when she engages in things that are foreign to her, her instinct is to make like a judgment face instead of being curious, which maybe she thinks is a part of her character. God, I can't find it. That's so weird. Yeah, I saw it this morning. If anyone has seen this TikTok, it's like, maybe, I don't know where she was, but maybe she, oh, wait. Is this it? Is this it? This is a different clip than I saw. The one I saw showed her looking like judgy at first and then fine. I feel like sometimes what is a part of her character is sort of like, it's bad PR in a sense. Like, it's just like, it's a very weird, like, she reacts judgy. So maybe that's why. Chad said it's a soccer chant. I don't even know what that means. Well, there you go. Like, maybe it's just like a bubble difference. I don't know. I feel like the reason it might rub people the wrong way is that she said it was weird and she was uncomfortable. But more than that she wouldn't accept the answer that it's my culture. So maybe the issue is that Sabrina is a real person with real feelings. But the problem with being like a real person with real feelings is also that you will look bad sometimes. And also, I'm surprised she hasn't been better trained or PR trained or something, right? And so it's just kind of strange. And then instead of it being like a moment to come together with her fans, she alienated them more in her apology by continuing to call it yodeling and stuff. It's like very strange. Okay. But I will say the content that came out of this situation is why I'm trying to point out that it can be deeper than you think, or it is that deep, that this sound is a celebratory sound that brings people together. And so when you have her, and look, I understand public people, they're always trying to find something wrong with them. I get it. And yet it would be nice if she could make the effort to be more interested, I think. And I say this as an American who living in Croatia, people always say I'm uncultured, and I get it. But that's maybe why I want to encourage the curiosity, though I would say I am naturally curious about other people's cultures, right? Okay, here's another compilation I want to show you.
I think I heard someone yodel. Is that what you're doing? I don't like it.
In the Arab world, we don't say congratulations. We say.
That's your culture, is yodeling?
That is called a Zaghruta.
Is this Burning Man? What's going on? This is weird. I don't like it.
Okay, that dog edit at the end, right? Okay, right? Chess says, I can't help but feel like it coincides with how bigotry is getting more accepted openly. Well, I think that's what it is. Like, I think ultimately it does actually work in bigotry's favor. And I say this as somebody whose family openly before 9/11 would brag that they were from Iraq. And then after 9/11, it was less braggable. Do you know what I'm saying? So when we have these conversations and we try to, understand each other on a global scale, it takes all of us participating. And since she's such a big person with a big microphone, it would be nice if she could help lead that direction in a sense. But I know what she'll say. I'm a celebrity. That's not my job. I'm a singer. I didn't know. I was confused. I was on stage. I know, Habibi. I know. And also, right? It's like, and also, it would be nice if we could all do our part in bringing down the tensions that racism and bigotry is so desperate to make us feel when it comes to one another and our differences, and understand that whether you're clapping in sign language or clapping with your hands or clapping with your tongue, we celebrate as a species. We celebrate, right? And we should be celebrating celebration. And I feel like that is why it is always that deep. And I know, especially right now with this Trump administration trying to make all people who wear headscarves or make sounds that sound scary or dance in ways that are confusing or use language that sounds whatever to you, they are going to utilize anything they can to make you think like, oh, you're being too sensitive and it's not that deep and it doesn't matter that much. And that's why it is sad and disappointing, but not surprising, because I've been there myself, when Arab people or West Asian people internalize racism and we show up. My whole family does it. My immediate family does it, where they want to be the token immigrant and they kind of want to play to Republicans or white people. And they sort of love celebrating their culture when white people like it, but when white people don't like it, now it's like hush hush. And it's like, it is that deep. It is that devastating. It is that important. And we should say something about it in the nicest way possible. You have to do better, because otherwise you are literally the thing that we're all afraid you are, which is a white woman who cares about nothing but herself, even if it comes at the expenses of even some of her fans. Because reminder, that person was a fan who was at a concert, who was celebrating Sabrina Carpenter, and Sabrina Carpenter couldn't celebrate her back. And so therefore it is that deep. The end of my monologue. Yeah, Chet says the internalized racism and tokenism is too real. I see it in my family. It's hard, bro, because you really, I grew up my whole life like the music, the food, the culture, the dances, the fashion, the language. Like, at one point my parents bragging about like, oh, these languages they speak and all of these things they do. And then one year after another, I saw it chip away at them, like the lack of bragging. Like, when was the last time my parents bragged about speaking multiple languages? Or when was the last time my dad bragged about being able to read and write Arabic? Or when was the last time it became something cool? Like, wow, like you guys have such a history. And now it's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, we're Americans. And I'm like, what happened? And that's why assimilation can be so dangerous, to be honest, is like it erodes at culture and tradition. And though we should update all traditions for sure, I think that, there's nothing to update when it comes to a celebratory sound, one that when I hear it, I go, ooh, like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like that sound that makes you feel, one of the reasons, I know this sounds so silly, but just to make it a little more personal, is like, even on my plant-based journey a year in, one of the hardest parts was like, what if I can't eat my mom's food anymore? And I was like, man, that's devastating, bro. And then I found a whole group of Assyrian vegans on the internet that have all of our recipes vegan. And I was like, we prevail. We prevail. We find a way, and that's the point. So Sabrina Carpenter, it is what it is. I really wish sometimes people wouldn't fall so neatly into such a typical stereotype. And with that said, let's talk about creepy men on the internet who get famous and slide into their fans' DMs. That's another one we could do without, okay? White women thinking it's all about them, and men sliding into their fans' DMs, okay? Those are the two things we could maybe deconstruct that. You know what I mean? Maybe we could get rid of that custom. Okay, let's do that. So let me set you guys up, because it is interesting and devastating, and I'm so annoyed for all the victims, honestly. So frustrating. Um, sorry, I'm just reading your comments. Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page. That's really all that matters. Here we go. So there's a YouTuber named Saikuno. You've probably heard of him. He's the one in the top left corner there at the screen. His friends, people who knew him in the industry, have all come out to make reactions of the news that dropped. You probably saw it. We're going to watch it together. Apparently, there's a YouTuber who is basically given permission to sort of share the story, and they thank the victims in the pinned comment here. So we're going to go with this video from Majin, and I'm just going to use their video to have this conversation because I would rather trust somebody who has some sort of contact with the victims than not. Plus, it is the video that is like getting the most views. And I just want to have us, before we begin the really long video, I want us just to watch people's reactions, and then I want you to see how we feel after we learn exactly the details of what's happened, right? So here's Pokimane. It says, how it sounds to feel disappointed but no longer surprised. Okay, so she's making a point. She's not making a loud statement, but it's a loud statement, right? And just for a disclaimer, since I am a content creator who also went full-time during lockdown, I was not in this bubble. Even though I knew all these people, they were playing Among Us and stuff, I was not watching them. It's just not for me. It's not my kind of content. You know, I'm a philosophy girly. We do philosophy through pop culture here. But I had friends who were watching them, at least one friend, and I, you know, kind of learned them through him. And I was like, oh, tell me about this bubble. Like, what do they do? And he goes, oh, they just play games together. It's really fun. They're friends. And as a YouTuber who's had collaborations with people, I know that YouTube friendships are finicky. Twitch friendships are finicky. Are you close? Are you not close? Do you guys know what's going on? Here's Valkyrie's reaction to the situation as well.
In the room, elephant in the room. Obviously, yes, I did talk to Saikuno, and obviously, yes, he did tell me everything. And obviously, yes, I should not have tweeted that I was disappointed yesterday because
a fan asked, hey, what are your thoughts? And she just wrote back, disappointed, sad face.
As it just gave a lot of ammo to a lot of angry people.
And you have to understand that the XQC side of the internet also has beef with these people. So the anti-Hasan people have beef with these people. Hasan gets along with these people. So you have to understand this is multi-layered social interaction, okay? You think socializing is complicated? Wait until you see the web of people who know people who hate people. So XQC is on the internet saying, you guys are so mad about Saikuno, but you don't care that Hasan zapped his dog, even though we have no evidence that Hasan zapped his dog, right? We have just an idea, right? So there are so many social layers at play here. You just have to keep that all in mind. But that's why this situation is so interesting to me, because we always talk about protecting abusers and communities. And you know how easy it is to have a friend come to you and say, hey, I'm working on my marriage. I'm working on stuff. Can you help me? And you're like, yeah. And then you realize, oh my God, it's so much worse than you even know. So I will give credit to people in this situation that they might not have known every detail. But what I'm looking for is hopefully people putting a line in the sand that says, hey, I can't be friends with somebody like this. Like, unless this is your brother, unless this is your close relative that you are doing the work to break a generational curse with, you don't need to stay friends with these people. Now, what's interesting is to see what happens in terms of protecting victims. If the victims feel credible, which, you know, it's the internet, so of course nobody believes the victims, but okay.
And so, but yeah, he knows that I was gonna mention it today, and he told me everything, and yeah, I am disappointed, as I have been with a lot of my friends in the past, and I'm sure I've also been disappointing to a lot of my friends as well. So, you know.
See the way that she's like, oh, it's just disappointing. I mean, yeah, to put it lightly, it's disappointing. To put it lightly.
It is disappointing. You know, but what happened? I'm surprised. Some of you don't know, but yeah, he's a cheater. He's a cheater. But yeah. we talked, and he's gonna figure things out, and I hope for the best, and I am so sorry to all of those involved.
This is why I say, as much as like Pokemon's making a big statement here, right? Sound like how it sounds to feel disappointed but no longer surprised, and Valkyrie's making this comment. There is no embodied feminism. There's no embodied like liberation for the victims. And I get it. You're in a weird social situation. You're not sure how to express yourself. And also, like, we need a coalition. We need a group. We need a consensus that when shit like this happens, we're like, abso-fucking-lutely not. I don't want to hear it. And unless you are literally someone that I will know until the day I die, this friendship is over. Because why are we even saying friends with cheaters? You know what I mean? Like, unless this is literally your brother in Christ, girl, why are we even saying friends with cheaters, let alone somebody who in his position of the whole 35 years old he is, slid into 19-year-old fan DMs and pretended to have a relationship with them while he knew he was in a full-blown relationship, while he knew he was literally living with a girlfriend. Do you know what I'm saying? What are we even talking about? Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these girls are literally like besties with him. Maybe he is like their brother. But why are we even doing this? Oh, yeah. For those of you who don't know the details, just wait. I'm going to get you there. I'm going to get you there. Right? Okay. Chad says, I mean, he clearly shocked his dog, but go off, queen. Look, with peace and love, you can't say gun to your head he shocked his dog. I would say I'm not surprised if Hassan shocked his dog, but you see how this doesn't matter when we're talking about victims? But see how you bring it up when we're talking about victims, which is what XQC did? Why are you bringing up Hassan and his fucking dog, Kaya? Shout out to Kaya. We love her. Why are you bringing her up when we're talking about victims? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why it doesn't matter. You do not care about Kaya. You only care about hating Hassan. Get a job. Okay? Now, here is an old TikTok, right? Saikuna's on purpose awkward roommate moment. So Saikuna, if you don't know, and maybe you guys actually like literally don't even know who this is. Let me show you. Oh, actually, this is a good TikTok. It has his photo. So this is him. He does the awkward guy. He has like a shtick where he's like an awkward guy who can't get girls. He like puts his hand over his face to like laugh because it enhances the shy boy. He's been called out over the years of being fake, but most streamers have a character. Big streamers have a character, even Pokimane, right? That's why Pokimane's whole room is a set. Like a lot of these streamers have caricatures they play. It's not surprising, right? It's part of capitalism. She's a ruthless capitalist, right? Which is my criticism of Pokimane, is that she's a ruthless capitalist. So I don't know why she's surprised that a man is playing a character when they're all playing a version of a character, right? You cannot accidentally get that big. Like, it is always strategic. It's almost rarely not some sort of caricature that the audience ends up becoming parasocial with that enhances the fame, which is why he has 4 million followers on Twitch. Okay? 4 million followers on Twitch. Even if they don't always think they're doing it, they're doing it. He knew he was in a relationship. He knew he was lying. He knows he's playing a character. He knows it's bullshit, right? So this is the problem with him. But let me show you this clip.
There are some people that are like, Saikuna looks so uncomfortable. I just want you to know that he literally said out loud, I'm gonna look as awkward as possible on purpose. It is what he does. And for the record,
right? Like they all make these jokes about it. Here's Toast making a similar joke, which we'll get to him in a second. Toast is on the top right corner, and then Saikuna is on the top left corner, right?
Toast?
Well, my first impression of you was similar to my first impression of Lily. It's like
Lily Pichu is the name.
Drop the fucking act, bro. I know. I see through you. Okay.
Well, what do you think now?
Oh.
And then you realize he's just like this 24/7.
No, he's just really good at keeping it up. But one day he's gonna slip.
Okay, so Toast is like making a joke. It's kind of friendly. But now this allegedly is a clip that's going around posted 2 days ago of Toast talking about the situation now in relation to a tweet he put out. So I should show you the tweet first. So he put out this tweet and allegedly deleted it. It says, I get why Saikuna did was fucked up and why people are dogging on him, but watching his friends in quotations of years that acted close to him, used him for their own gain when he was popular, run to throw him under the bus for a quick few likes is why people say streamers are fake as fuck. I agree that maybe there are some fake as fuck streamers in doing this, but mostly he is abusive. He did an abusive, calculated, intentional thing to multiple women it is a pretty good time to end your friendship with him. So this is him on Twitch, Toast, reacting to the situation.
Happened. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's disappointing. It's sad. And I think that's really all I'm comfortable talking about. Right? If and when Sykkuno makes a statement, you guys can hear from him. From me. Sad about it. Yeah. That's it.
How do these people have nothing to say?
Made everyone sit through all of that.
Like, that's it. Like, all these people, all this friend group have nothing to say. It's kind of insane. I'm just like, nobody? Oh, and apparently he was accused of similar shit a few years ago, but it got silenced because nobody said it mattered. So this isn't even the first time that he has been accused, Sykkuno, right? So I'm just like, what is happening? Okay, so we're going to get into the video. I just wanted to give you that idea of like, this is why I say I love philosophy, but this is also why I say, like, with peace and love, I'm not on YouTube to like have little fake friend groups and socialize. And also, even I haven't done my due diligence in perfectly collabing with people because you know my own history. You really want to believe people are good, but you have to understand people have completely different values when it comes to consent. And that's why informed consent has to be the forefront of all of your interactions with most people. Because if the person you are hanging around does not care about consent truly, and I know it's hard because at first they'll say they do, but then you have to realize they don't, okay? You have to understand how serious it is. And this is also why I deeply, as a public figure, as a YouTuber, I'm at work right now, do want to recommend that fans stop making thirst trap camera shoots, whatever edits of your favorite streamers. Stop. Because you're playing into the system that allows these abusers to rise to fame and slide into your DMs. I'm not victim blaming. I'm saying that these abusers weaponize it against you. I'm saying you are innocent in making those thirst traps, thinking they're funny or thinking they're cute. Those predators are just making a lineup of all the people they think they can take advantage of. And because you're so vulnerable and susceptible to the fact that this famous guy is in your DMs, you're going to naturally, reasonably be like, oh my God, this is so exciting. A YouTuber I like is interested in me. He is looking to take advantage of you. He does not like you authentically, girl. You're 19, he's 35, girl. Like, he is not, authentically interested in you. That's what I'm saying. I know it's hard to believe because I remember being a girl. I remember being when I was a young warthog, okay? I also wish the band members from My Chemical Romance would have slid into my DMs. Okay? I think we've all been there. But I'm saying, hey, I was 15 and they were like 30. Would that not have been weird? Maybe they were younger. No, they were about probably 25, 30. Either way, they were old. And would that not have been weird? Would that not have been inappropriate? Okay, so please, for your own sake, girl, I'm telling you right now, empower yourself away from these streamer boys and de-center men. De-center men. De-center men. Okay, let's watch this video and thoughts are with the victims. No such thing as a perfect victim and still a victim. So we support the victims, of course. Okay, here we go.
My girlfriend of 4 years has recently become obsessed with a male streamer and I feel really uncomfortable about it. This was a post made on the subreddit r/relationship advice around the end of 2020. What was particularly shocking here is that barely just a few days after making that initial post, he'd end up breaking up with his girlfriend. Her obsession with that streamer was that irrational. And during that time, she wasn't the only one who might have felt this way. That's because the male streamer in question here was none other than Sykkuno, a name and face that had become a core memory of the COVID-19 pandemic, more specifically when everyone was locked up in their homes. In the span of
I don't know if this YouTuber is going to cover it, but he also showed up as a VTuber to talk to Bernie Sanders, and I'll never forget how ridiculous that panel was. You're talking to Senator Bernie Sanders, and you're in your VTuber. Never. Okay, you know what?
In a year, he would go from having 1,000 average viewers on Twitch to 50 100,000, even having a stream where he peaked at over 100,000 concurrent viewers.
that's
What he'd
no
be
joke.
most known for was his gameplay of Among Us with his friends, who happened to be very big content creators as well. Not only would he get tens of thousands of concurrent viewers on Twitch, but he would get millions upon millions of views on his YouTube channel as well. And while his rise to fame is definitely incredibly impressive, what was truly unparalleled here is his extremely high ratio of female viewers, confirmed to having been higher than any of his other content creator friends. His handsome look, his anime-sounding voice, and his witty jokes made women go rabid. In fact, there was also a joke that he would turn male.
Hold on, let me show you. Wait, oh, is this the YouTube video? Hold on.
It's kind of crazy.
So that's him in the corner.
Okay, guys, look. Ladies
Yep,
and gentlemen,
that's him.
I am just getting word that Bernie
That's
Sanders
Austin.
is ready for
That's
us.
Pokemon. Fording.
Trump pulled yesterday at a closed restaurant with
There he is in the corner as a cat.
people hired to play
Wow.
customers.
Amazing. Wow, very serious. And then Pokemon the whole time is like Bernie Sanders will be like, terrible things are happening to women. And then Pokemon's like this. I just listen, I have a lot of criticism for the people we make famous, but it is what it is. And I'm allowed to do this because, you know, I like ethics and philosophy, and this is just feeling deeply unethical. Okay, here we go.
Fans gay. But what made him really desirable is just how socially awkward he was. He was innocent in an endearing way. He was a boy failure that needed a woman to fix him. In a nutshell, he was this picture, almost allergic to other women. He just couldn't handle anything romantic. He would get too flustered. This made many of his fans want to be the one to finally fix him. But make no mistake here, this was all a perfectly crafted image that he had made for himself. He wanted you to think that he was innocent, naive, a boy failure, someone who's inexperienced in relationships and would never hurt a fly. Because in reality, behind this mirage, this illusion.
Chet said, "How come they all become friends?" Well, this is the part about streamer that content that is capitalistic that I want you to understand. You remember when Ludwig said he wouldn't go to Hassan's funeral and everyone freaked out? Why would Ludwig go to Hassan's funeral unless he's dating Cutie Cinderella? So Cutie is friend with Hassan. And this is why I say YouTubers have the worst boundaries, because you didn't even ask if we were close. You didn't even ask, right? Like, why would I go to your funeral? Because people forget we're working. Like, I think that's the issue, is like, we're at work. I'm at work. Okay, so sometimes YouTubers will even say like, I thought I was so close to Britney. Homie, you don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about my life or who I am. You never even ask about me. We don't talk outside of work. Why in the world would we be other than work friends, right? That's what happened with a lot of these groups. Remember when James Charles and Tati and all those people had their fucking little group? It's because they make a lot of money. These are all millionaires, by the way. These are all millionaires. Okay, so Tati and Jeffrey and all them had their moment. The friendship is based off the fact that they're clout chasing. It's not an organic friendship. None of these people would have been friends if they weren't streamers. And I guess, you know, I understand, but also that's why if I have real friendships with YouTubers, which I do, we talk in private. I just caught up with a friend the other day for 2.5 hours. We were talking, and that's what we do. We catch up outside of work. Any conversation I have on stream with a content creator is work. We are not friends if we talk on stream alone. Okay. We have to talk. We have to get to know each other. We have to pay attention. I have to share my life with you, right? Like my friends that are close to me. I mean, I'm talking about my partner. I'm sharing personal details. Like we're getting to know each other intimately. We're building a friendship. It's real. I'm saying a lot of these people aren't in a real relationship or friendship, but let me tell you this, it makes a lot of money because the fans don't care. They just want to see their favorites collab, which I understand. I get excited to see people collab too, but you know, don't get overly excited. Just because somebody collabs with somebody doesn't mean they're close.
There was a master manipulator, a serial cheater, and a predator. Someone who would make it a point for many years to target smaller content creators, take full advantage of the fact that he was one of the most desirable men in the streaming world, all while making it seem like he had no experience with women and that it just might be romantic. They just might be that special someone who can fix him. What he would somehow forget to tell them, though, is that he had been in a monogamous relationship since 2021. But you don't have to take my word for it, because he admits to everything in a recorded voice call with the victim herself. And on top of that, that same victim, who goes by the name of HemamalVT, would choose to write a Google Doc that shows the entire timeline, her and Saikuno's DMs together, as well as the DMs of another victim that actually slept with Saikuno while being totally oblivious to the fact that he has been in a relationship since 2021. This might be one of the most impactful and longest running lies in content creation history. I want to thank the two victims in question for trusting me with this very heavy topic and for allowing me to make the first comprehensive video on it. So without further ado, let's get right into this mess.
Wow.
All right, so first off, who the hell is Saikuno? Well, before starting his streaming career, he actually used to be a software engineer working in the Bay Area of California. His monotonous office life would change forever, though, when he would meet Lily Pichu, a well-known content creator who actually...
Man, I will just say, I don't know much about Lily, but the girl is surrounded by predators. She's also friends with the Bay Bros. You know what I'm saying? She needs to get out. I don't know if she's a good person or not, but she needs to get out, girl. Okay, and I feel bad because it feels like I did see her reply about like, hey, I just don't know who to trust anymore in this industry. None of them, girl. Get out. Don't trust any of these boys.
Started making content as far back as 2012. However, when they met, she was far from being the very well-known content creator that we know today. It was back during the Season 3 World Championship for League of Legends during the year of 2013, so barely a year into her content creator journey. Saikuno would be aware of her content. He'd reach out to her and would want to meet her, seeing that they're both at the same place. Lily Pichu agreed, thinking, oh, am I about to meet a fan? That's awesome. She'd be absolutely shocked when that fan would show up with a massive bouquet of flowers. As she was about to thank him, he would run away back to his cousins. According to him, these were his only friends at the time. He was that lonely. He was simply too embarrassed to interact with her further. This interaction left a good impression on Lily Pichu, and they kept in touch for years to come. In fact, as she would start her streaming journey, she'd play with her friends, and one of those friends would be Saikuno. Her viewers would start to express interest in him, especially seeing that his voice sounded like an anime character. There was genuine demand in her community.
Okay, we don't even need to talk about the fetishism of Asian people, but like, that is hugely at play here. And I know the fans aren't ready to deconstruct their racism because they don't see it as racist, but it is absolutely racist to objectify this man for being Asian and then play on the fact that like you have something. It's like that Button episode where the girl goes, oh, I like Asian men. And then she's like into K-pop. Habibis, with peace and love, it's racism. I know you think it's not racism because you think he's attractive, but it's still racism.
To know what he looked like. What they didn't know, though, was that Lily Pichu had already shown him. He was there with her when she went to Summoners Con in 2015, and he was right there with her in her vlog. But most of her community were simply not aware of this. So seeing that there was growing demand to see what he looked like, they decided to do a face reveal live on Lily Pichu's stream around the year of 2019.
Yeah, you're such a... Oh, okay, here we go. Wait, you're actually so much braver than I thought.
Only because you're here.
All right, I'm in the stream.
And as you can see, the chat was definitely not disappointed. In fact, Lily Pichu had such an impact on Saikuno that she would be, well, the main reason why he would start streaming. And you can hear him say that himself.
So what convinced you to start streaming? Oh, Lily, actually.
And speaking of streaming, he would start doing so shortly after revealing his face on Lily Pichu's stream. He'd start at the beginning of 2019 with barely under 100 viewers.
Okay, can I just say something? That ick you felt just now with the performative shy boy thing that he just did, that's how I feel every time I see a thirst trap of Hasan. Decenter men. Decenter men. Decenter men. Decenter men. Stop centering men. You are worth more than these boys and their validation. Stop. I swear to God, if any of these boys slide into your DMs, block. Block. Absolutely not.
But as the months
also, guys, do we need to deconstruct like objectification? Because I just saw a TikTok this morning that said, this is the man the liberals want us to hate. And it was Hasan in a towel. First of all, block. Second of all, stop objectifying people regardless of gender. What are you doing? How would you feel? Like, what are we doing? Decenter men and stop objectifying people.
Would go by, he would start to get very rapid growth. He would really start putting in serious hours by August 2019, and within just 1 year, by August 2020, he'd be sitting at 8,000 average viewers, reaching a peak of 15,000. But how? Why? Well, during his streams, he would continue playing with Lily Pichu, and seeing that Lily Pichu has a lot of big content creators that she calls friends, she would introduce them to Saikuno. It turned out that this guy...
See, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying the reason everyone gets along and has a good time is, one, it's good for streaming views. And two, it does force a lot of virality because most of the audiences are shared. Remember, even in the Manosphere, that's what Myron did with Sneeko and everybody else. They all share audiences, right? The Bay Bros share audiences. So the Dean Withers and the Destinies and the Voshes, they share in Hasan's, they share audiences. The Manosphere, Sneeko and Myron, they share audiences. These people, this is like PewDiePie, Valkyrie, Pokimane, Toast, they all share an audience, right? Saikuno. And then it goes on and on and on. There's like pockets of audiences, right? And that's the point. So then I tried to find where I was going to be. And then I realized, like, you know what, with peace and love, I don't think I want to be a part of any of these groups. You know what I mean? Like, I try to find my bubble. Like, are you my bubble? And are you my bubble? And I'm like, you know what, girl? I've yet to see a bubble where something messy wasn't happening. And I can't. And even though I say this, I have a collaboration planned right now with a group of people at the end of the month. And I'm just in the back of my head praying that it doesn't turn out to be crazy again, because like I'm trying. I really want to have faith in this job and these people, that there is somebody out there in which collaborating with people is healthy. Now, obviously one-on-one, Britt Hartley and I have a very successful collab. The ThoughtSpot and I collab, like lots of really amazing women, YouTubers I collab with are great. But yeah, I'm still going to try. I'm still going to hope, but I don't want to be any part of anyone's clique for this reason, because I'm just like, it's like I don't think people are willing to recognize, like, we cannot be truly friends as a group. Groups of friends, it's very difficult. So I'm happy to be a coworker. I'm happy to show up and collab, but I want to make it clear, like, I will drop you the moment I find out you're a predator. I will drop you the moment I find out you've cheated. I will drop you the moment I find out anything about you. I will drop you the moment I find out you're transphobic, racist, homophobic, I will drop you. Okay? I will drop you.
Was very easy to talk to. He was witty, he made jokes, and the communities of the many streamers actually enjoyed his company. All of these factors combined would be the perfect catalyst for when the quarantine season of COVID-19 would arrive. He would start to play the game Among Us with some of the biggest content creators on the planet, and within just 4 months, he would go from 8,000 average viewers all the way up to 50,000 average viewers, peaking at 100,000 viewers in one stream. He was gaining 500,000 followers every single month. In just the span of like a year and a half, he had gone from being a mid-tier streamer to one of the biggest on the entire platform. It wasn't just Twitch though. He would be getting millions upon millions of views on his YouTube videos as well. He was killing it on every single platform he was on. And so by 2022, when YouTube was aggressively recruiting Twitch streamers to stream on their platforms instead, offering them multi-million-dollar deals, they targeted Sykkuno, seeing that he's extremely brand friendly, has a very loyal audience, and had become a household name in such a short time. So on May 2nd, 2022, he would announce to the world that he was moving to YouTube on a 2-year exclusive contract. And as you can tell by the engagement, this post went viral. What I really want you to understand though is just how valuable he was seen by companies and platforms. Back when YouTube was aggressively recruiting talents that were on Twitch and their confidence and hubris, seeing that they completely dominated the streaming scene at the time, would never bother offering a counteroffer. On the very rare occasion that they did, it was a very big deal. And guess what? They made an exception to Sykkuno. They gave him a counteroffer higher than YouTube. Sykkuno would go back to YouTube and show them Twitch's new offer, and YouTube would offer to pay even more.
Damn.
His contract alone is estimated to be around $5 million. Sykkuno, though, also had interests in other communities, such as VTubers.
Chad said, is that how he got rich? That's how everyone at this time got rich. Valkyrie, Pokimane, Hassan, most of the people got rich because they took deals. They had streamer deals. From my understanding, from the way they have talked about it, that they have actually talked about it on stream, most of them were living at a perfect time, a time like no other, and they were given opportunities that no longer exist, by the way. Ludwig, all those people, they were given Twitch deals or YouTube deals, which they don't do anymore as far as I know. So it really was like you had to have been there, and it had to have been a perfect time for these companies to have chosen you.
2023, for an April Fool's joke, he would debut his first VTuber model, extending his reach to a new niche community. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because at some point he was—
There it is. There it is.
Invited to a call with the Senator Bernie Sanders alongside Valkyrie and Pokimane. And instead of showing his face, he chose to be—
Austin was the only true professional king in this call. Shout out to Austin, my Lebanese king. Listen, Austin is problematic, but he was the only man who came fucking prepared that day. Of course he was.
VTuber. This was so ridiculous and it went so viral that he inadvertently kind of became a spokesperson for VTubing in one stream. I mean, God, everyone wanted a piece of that guy. You would see him everywhere, collabing with everyone. And this was partly due to his very loyal and almost rabid fan base. But it was, of course, all by design. You see, back in 2023, Pokimane would make the very interesting revelation that Sykkuno had the highest female demographic fan base compared to any other streamer.
Boo! Red flag. Red flag, boo, red flag. Okay, just like it's a red flag. It's a red flag. And in the same way, it's a red flag if you're a girl and your primary audience is men. I said what I said. It's a red flag.
Her included. She would compare his level of fame and the way his fans acted.
Now, I know you think, but Brittany, wouldn't that be a green flag? Not if you are a sex symbol to your audience. If you have a primary female audience because you're a sex symbol, negative. Exactly the perfect construct and build up to reaching into DMs for fans. You know you're going to take advantage of those people. You better watch yourself, sir. Like, you know what I'm saying? So no, red flag.
towards him to K-pop idols. He simply wasn't seen like the run-of-the-mill Twitch streamer. No, there was definitely more to this. And one of the main reasons why this worked out so well is because he was seen as a boy failure. No, not the kind of guy who's unemployed and lives in a dump and smells like shit. I'm talking about the ideal boy failure. The guy who's handsome, smells nice, doesn't live in a dump, but is instead just a hopeless romantic.
Yeah, my Discord said Halo Effect thought the difference, or no, half Halo Effect, half formed thought the difference between Hassan's Halo Effect and Sykkuno's Halo Effect is somewhere between the difference, between the difference of how people perceive hotness versus cuteness. Exactly. This is what I think is so interesting. Wait, pause. I got to show you this because my audience, we're interested. I know there are probably people here who aren't a part of my audience. We're interested in dissecting bubbles, culture. We do philosophy here. We're always interested in how people perceive people. And also, even when people say the obvious, how they're actually saying something like it really is that deep. Look at this thing that just came across my feed in the last 24 hours.
God, also, can I say, I've been seeing this show and, you know, all the things that you do on social media, and every homosexual, every drag queen, every trans woman who comes on this show is always hitting on Hassan.
Yes.
And so just for the sake of balance, I want to say that Hassan, I'm not into Hassan. Okay. He's not my type. I would never sleep with him. I don't want to be with him. I actually, I'm not bothered.
Wow.
I just wanted to say that because I feel like everyone wants to sleep with this man.
No,
and I don't understand.
We
it.
do have a clip ready for
Yeah, we do. We have a clip.
really
Let's
interesting.
bring that up.
Oh.
Can I say, I think all these people like coming for Hassan want to fuck him too.
Oh, sure, he's handsome. I like him. I like Hassan. I don't.
I'm telling you, all these girls are desperate.
I don't need to fuck him, but
they come on here and they just want to fuck Hassan.
I don't need to fuck him. I would just be first in line if there was an option. Like if there's going to be a sweepstakes.
I think if he wants to keep talking to the Austin, the little gay guy on his podcast, if he wants to keep talking to Austin,
I live for the shade and disrespect. I live.
He came off as more homophobic than we ever have.
He said that irrelevant.
The little gay guy.
No one cares about his conversation.
He called me.
No one's bothered by him, the little gay man there.
He called me
I love that.
the little gay guy. First of all,
You're like our sideshow curiosity.
If you only knew, he's probably older than you, bitch.
Yeah. Whoa, wait. No, he's not. Wait, no. Let it be very clear. I don't know where
So you are
got
the little gay guy. You are the little gay guy.
No, but little is a relative term. I mean, compared to him, everybody's little, for God's sake. I mean, look at him. He's huge.
Well, I would just like to go on the record.
So early.
I would like to go on the record. I just want to say I am a drag queen and I don't want to fuck Hassan. I am not bothered by Hassan.
Yep.
I'm not attracted to Hassan. And there's a lot of people out there that like, they don't even like Hassan.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, though this is funny and this is all tee hee ha ha, I don't think it is far off from this. If you do not decenter men, and if you do not stop objectifying people, and if you allow yourself to be the guy everybody wants to fuck, this will happen. I know you say it won't, but it already has. You've already allowed the possibility to your fan base, right? The possibility to all your coworkers, the possibility it's in everyone's head. That's why that lady tweeted out to Hassan or tweeted or wanted Hassan to see that she shaved her whole body for him. That's what I'm saying. Like, guys, I don't see the difference. Just philosophically, politically, just, deconstructed, I don't see the difference. It's all fun and games until it's too far. The shit has gone too far. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I am very cautious of especially anybody in a position of power turning themselves into a sex symbol for their audience. The patterns are always clear. So may we never see a DM about Hassan, but also would not be surprised. Okay, like Pokimane said, disappointed, but not surprised, right? Disappointed, but not surprised. And that's all I'm saying.
Someone who turns all red when you want to initiate physical contact. The most innocent, naive soul imaginable. The appeal of a boy failure isn't necessarily that he's a failure. It's the fact that he's perfect, but just needs one person to fix him. And that's how a significant chunk of his fan base felt. If you've watched my channel before, then it's not too different from a girl failure that has a male audience that wants to fix her. It's the
Oh, I'll do you one even better. There is a psychological phenomenon, especially with neurodivergent girlies, that fall into a category of I will save him, that actually, even when I was younger, I went through. So speaking as a girly, as a gay, as a queer, as a her, him, who's gone through let me tell you, I've gone through all of the stages of grief from when I was 9 years old crushing to when I was, whatever crushing, is you see a boy You see a struggle and you think, not only can I fix him, but even though everyone thinks he's like ugly and disgusting, I see his true beauty. I see what he's really worth. I see all of the amazing possibilities, right?
Women always
look at this one. This was on Jen Marco. Okay, look at this.
Women always think, and I'm so guilty of this time and time fucking again, is I'll see a guy where I'm like, I bet nobody has ever fucked you, and I see your secret handsomeness and the interiority that you're hiding behind the strange like exterior, and I'm gonna like crack it and get to the bottom of it. And then all of my other friends and every woman I've ever met has had that exact same idea because we see deeper than the veneer. Men only really, for a while at least, like to see the veneer, I think. So when a woman is weird, a guy is not like, well, I actually want to crack you open and find your like soft gooey center or find anything interesting about you past like how you present
But that's the dream in K-pop dramas. The dream they sell you in romance novels is you can be the girl who's not attractive, who's not interesting, and some handsome guy will come out of the left field and save you while riding a horse, and he will actually crack you open and see your gooey center and how beautiful you are. And so women also project that onto men. We are taught through culture. That's why we have to deconstruct the way we are meant to perceive romantic relationships, which is why I say you need to be healthy, because the world certainly wants you to think this is healthy.
Men are like, that's a weird bitch, stay away from me, you're a leper. But when women see a guy that like doesn't have shit going on and is nasty, this has been like
Sometimes I go.
But this is what we're saying about incels. Like, women don't care if you're mogged or looks maxing. Not all women, of course, just generally, right? But men in the incel community be like, no, you won't be with me until I'm handsome. It's like, there is a someone said Bob the Builder. We're a Bob the Builder fix-it people over here, and we need to get ourselves under control. And that's why I say stop dating through a fantasy lens. Actually fall in love with a consciousness. Actually like somebody for who they are. Actually value and respect them for their values. But we are also busy fulfilling a fantasy that there's even a fantasy with our political streamers, Hassan, or our gamer streamer, Saikuno. There is there is a fantasy of maybe they'll slide into my DMs. Maybe they'll talk to me. And I'm just like, they're just people. And you know what? Even more so than they're just people, they're probably fucked up. They're probably fucking losers. You know what I'm saying? As we see every time one of these stories drops, they're fucking losers.
The same parasocial mess. This can be very easily seen in some of the most viral fan-made videos of Saikuno, like this one, for example, sitting at over 3 million views. Saikuno tells his trauma about girls. Saikuno trusts his friend, Disguised Toast, more than the girls. So this guy had barely any romantic experience, and yet still, he had his heart broken. He needs a woman that will fix him and tell him it'll be okay, and maybe she'll be one of his fans. If only he knew how handsome and amazingly desirable he was, though, because he's another fan-made video. Everyone's simping for Saikuno because who doesn't? I mean, God, if only he wasn't a boy failure and understood how smooth he was with women, but he's too naive. Because guess what? This video, sitting at over 4 million views, is titled Saikuno Being Smooth with Girls for 14 minutes. Yeah, I think you get the point by now, right? This image of him that was so carefully crafted would attract a very large female audience. It would also allow him to be one of the only male streamers to constantly be able to hang out with a majoritarily female friend group without him or them getting in trouble with their fan bases due to jealousy. The guy was innocent, allergic to love, and he wouldn't hurt a single fly. This allowed him to do things that other male content creators could never do. Like, dude, this is him sniffing the armpit of Fuslie at some point during a podcast when they were talking about body odor. This is how much he was trusted around women. And even though his audience was very obsessed over him, they saw him as so awkward, so incapable of understanding what love or social cues mean that this was fine. They didn't mind because they were going to be the ones to fix him anyway. So it comes as no surprise that yes, some relationships literally ended over the girl's obsession over him. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some gay relationships ended because of the same reason too. He was just that much of a sensation, and that crafted image he built around himself was just so believable.
Go to therapy, girls. We can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's philosophically meditate on what it means to show or have connection with people. Hello?
And convincing. And so he'd keep on doing what he's always done, and after his 2-year contract with YouTube would finally end during May 2024, he would make his grand comeback to Twitch, peaking at over 26,000 viewers. However, his viewer count would slowly begin to drift. And by April 2026, he'd be sitting at 1,665 average viewers, a far cry from the peak of the pandemic back at 50,000. He'd also stopped collabing with larger content creators as much as he used to, mostly sticking to himself. But hell, I mean, 1,600 average viewers is still very easy to make a living off of.
Oh, yeah,
he had
that's
made his
great.
millions of dollars, had this incredibly obsessive fan fan base. As far as content creator careers go, this really wasn't so bad. The guy was a multimillionaire. What people weren't aware of, though, is that for many years since becoming a viral sensation, he would use his status as Sykkuno, as the most desirable streamer imaginable, as this K-pop idol, to pursue relationships with smaller or up-and-coming content creators, whether they be cosplayers or VTubers, manipulating them into thinking that they were special.
Which I do understand why bigger creators don't hang out with smaller creators, because they're afraid of this power imbalance. And also, I think like if you're enough of adults in the room, it shouldn't matter. Like if everyone is actually an adult, then it should literally not matter who has what followers, right? Like you're not going to get a group of academics each who have so many followers. Like unless you're trying to be a celebrity, it shouldn't matter how many followers anybody has. It should matter about the quality of the work. But I agree that this is also a possible red flag of like bigger creators sliding into smaller creators' DMs, and the smaller creators like, oh my gosh, I'm being picked. So yeah, you have to be very careful.
All in the hopes of hooking up with them and while being in a monogamous relationship. This is the real Sykkuno. And now we finally have proof. Hemamol VT, who I'll refer to as Mal from now on, is someone who has been making content for the last year. She occasionally streams from time to time, but also tends to post cosplays on her Twitter profile, some of them being revealing. Those revealing cosplays would catch Sykkuno's attention, and he'd follow her on Valentine's Day of 2026. Within barely a few days, he would start talking about how they should move in together into the same house, all while having a girlfriend. When Mal would find out about the girlfriend, she would decide to write a Google document. The Google document would contain Mal's side of the story as well as Elfie Leah's side of the story, another VTuber who, of course, also posts cosplays from time to time, which is why Sykkuno was interested in her to begin with. She also had no idea that Sykkuno had a girlfriend and would meet up with him during December 2025 in Paris when he would travel for a convention. Unlike Mal, though, she would actually end up sleeping with Sykkuno, again, completely oblivious that he has a girlfriend. They would both share their stories and the DMs with Sykkuno in the Google document. This document would be 32 pages long, and it would detail both of their experiences with Sykkuno, leading up to the revelation of the fact that he has a girlfriend, as well as a link to the full 17-minute YouTube video in which Mal would confront Sykkuno about cheating on his girlfriend with her. Here's how it would start off. On Valentine's Day of this year, I was followed on Twitter by Sykkuno. I thought it was amazing that such a big content creator even knew I existed, let alone followed me on social media. He had been my role model and someone I looked up to for a long time, ever since my days in high school. However, what I learned about Sykkuno after that day would make me regret my decision. Sykkuno is not the kind, soft-spoken character you see on stream. He is a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator who uses his status to get what he wants from as many women as possible, or specifically, ones who are smaller or up-and-coming content creators, knowing that he can take advantage of them. After confiding in many others that have had similar experiences with Sykkuno, I realized that this was not an isolated incident. In fact, it was something that had been going on for multiple years. He always made sure to cover his tracks and never left a paper trail significant enough for someone to make this public. But now, this has all changed. These are serious allegations, and I fully understand that this should not be treated lightly. I urge all other content creators who have been personally affected by Sykkuno's behavior to not remain silent, as I believe that there is strength in numbers. This document will not only include proof from me, but from another victim who has given me her consent as well. Below, you will find evidence that will expose his calculated pattern of love bombing and manipulation, as well as a recording of a voice call where he explicitly admits to all his wrongdoings. Everything. All right, so already this is one hell of an intro to the document, right? One thing I want to point out is the urging of all other content creators who have been personally affected by Sykkuno to come out about this. As I already mentioned, there are many people who were affected by his actions throughout the years. In fact, if Sykkuno traveled to any expo or convention or event, then you can bet a hefty sum of money that he always had someone there who he flew out, hoping that he could bring them to his hotel room. Anyway, the next section of the document would be titled, Our First Conversation. After Valentine's Day, I was so excited about him following me that I told a friend who then urged me to strike up a conversation. I finally worked up the courage to send him a DM, and he replied right away. So here we can see on the 15th of February, Mal would send, "Are you still looking for a Valentine's Day, perhaps?" To which Sykkuno would say, so innocently, "What? You can't just open up with something like that? And besides, Valentine's Day's almost over where I'm from already." To which she would reply with, "I mean, we can always do a Valentine's Day do-over, you know?" In the same first conversation, he brought up what kind of games he'd like to play and invited me to play with him after a convention. On the left image, we can see them discussing sleep schedules, right? Understanding what time it is for her, what time it is for him. On the right image, we can see him say, "What games do you like to play?" I'm like,
let's see, I can take, so on the first message, it says, "I can take the healing kit and occasionally heal you in it. What time are you, is it where you're from? It's 8:45 a.m., but I have a horrible sleep schedule. It's 5:48 a.m. What? Oh my gosh. Wait, do you want to play right now? If you're not tired or something, why are you awake? Because I'm bad at sleeping. Okay, I gym at night." Then it's like, "I'm pretty bad at sleeping too, not gonna lie. On a real note, friend of mine dared me because I didn't know how to reach out. I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to come off weird. LOL," he says, "You aren't weird, don't worry. I didn't say no, I guess so. LOL, JK, JK. What games do you like to play? I'm a massive game player. That's usually how I meet people or make friends." And then it says, "Well, I've been in my OW addiction." Is that Overwatch? "Because of Sonaro bundle." Okay.
A massive game player, that's usually how I meet people or make friends, to be honest. In the next couple images, we can see Sykkuno talk about the game he was playing, which was Outlast Trials, saying that maybe Mal could carry him. She would agree, give him her Discord, and
Okay, yeah, like I see. Okay, this is good. Most useful on Torp. So it's like really innocent, right? Like it's specifically very innocent. Even though it's so weird, like usually when large content creators reach out to me in the DMs, it's usually DMs. They don't usually follow me. They usually go like, hey, you want to be on the pod? Or like, hey, you want to be on an interview? No, but only because I check who they also collab with. And anyways, so if somebody follows me that is popular, oh, I just had a realization that almost never happens, because if they really want my attention, they just DM me. And it's usually for a collab. Yeah, I think I've only ever been reached out in a collab context. Almost every situation I've ever had, but I am older, and I think that plays a role in this. Like, this is so weird being like a YouTuber, because I am a smaller YouTuber, but I'm middle-sized, which means I do this for a full-time living. But yeah, like this wouldn't happen because this is my job. Versus for her, even though she had I think 22,000 followers, I could be wrong. I think that was her account. Then she like isn't, even though she's making content, she's not a creator. So she's a fan. So it's like a deliberate decision to make it sound normal. Interesting. Because I always wonder why these boys always think they can get away with it. Like, why do these men do this? Like, one, it's disgusting. And two, they must feel entitled. But yeah, so he made it sound so casual. Yeah, interesting. Wow. Gross, huh? Yeah, what a tactic. Look at how innocent it is. Oh, you want to play games with me?
then wonder, hey, are you done soon with your stream? Because I'm getting tired. She hadn't slept all night. She was pulling an all-nighter. He'd apologize for taking so long, and then he'd say that he has a convention to go to. So after making her wait for like a few hours, he would say, hey, listen, can we just play tomorrow?
Yeah, and then she DM'd first, which makes it look like she wanted to DM first, but he followed her. And he knows the responsibility. That also makes it look like, see how weird that is? Why would you, knowing you are literally a big creator, because you guys have to understand, on most apps, even on YouTube, if a YouTuber messages me or leaves a comment, YouTube sends me a special message and goes, oh, they can tell when a creator messages me. They don't have to be verified. They don't even have to have 100,000 subscribers. I don't know why, by the way, I'm too much of a boomer to even know why this happens. But if it is a creator, maybe it's the frequency in which they upload or something. But if it's like, even if it's 50,000 follower, subscriber, YouTuber, it doesn't matter. YouTube will be like, so-and-so left a message for you. And I'm like, okay. And like, they just let me know. So she is going to notice when one of the biggest guys messages her, right? And so for him not to know that, to not be responsible, to not think about that is outrageous. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, as a creator, I know as a creator, I'm not even a big creator, and I know the responsibility I have of when I leave a message on someone's video, someone might see my thumbnail, see that I have Brittany Simon, and go, oh, that feels like a YouTuber. Because even our names look kind of like YouTubers. People are going to click. So again, like, he knows this is why this is a pattern of abuse that a lot of people do, especially men in this position.
Tomorrow I have a convention to go to, and they would agree, okay, let's play after the convention. This is what would lead us to the next section. Interest in where I live. For context, this is still the same day as the first conversation. Only moved to Discord in a few hours apart since I'm EU time zone and he's US time zone. So yeah, these DMs have the timestamp of 10 a.m. EU time. The last DMs we can see on Twitter were at 9 a.m. So this is barely an hour later after they added each other. Mal would continue by saying, things started out innocently enough with him inquiring about fun things to do near where I live, such as aquariums and conventions. TwitchCon EU specifically. I'd like to point—
Wait, oh, this just happened. I think did he say May? Am I stupid? Doesn't this say 2/15/2026? This is 2 months ago. That means, did you guys hear that? Did he say May of last year he was at a conference? Or this is February. So they didn't even keep it private. They came really forward with it pretty quickly. Am I reading this correctly? 2/15/2026, right? Whoa. Oh, Valentine's of this year. Oh, you know what? I'm kind of impressed with their diligence. Not to victim blame in any capacity, but you know how people always like, why'd you keep it secret for so long? Well, congratulations, girl. You know? This is, wow, this was even, okay, there we go.
Out that I said we could go on a date to make up for Valentine's. He not once expressed to me any discomfort or that he wasn't single. So yeah, this is how it goes. If someone expresses interest in you, right?
Okay, LOL. Okay, I'll try it. Do they have an aquarium? I'm a big fan of aquariums. There's Arts in Amsterdam. Could make it a date, you know, to make up for the Valentine's. Artist, a what? LOL. Wait, how far away even is TwitchCon? Oh my gosh, let me check. Last days of May. Okay, so May is the center of maybe, okay, I'm trying to pick it up. I'm trying to put it all together. Wow, okay, it's actually like a few months away. Wow, it really sneaks up. Okay.
Right? You typically tell them fairly quickly that you're already in a committed relationship. You don't just let things slide. Mal had no reason to think that Sykkuno was already taken. Otherwise, he would have said something after she proposed a date. He'd ask, do they have an aquarium? I'm a big fan of aquariums. She'd say, there's artists in Amsterdam, could make it a date, you know, to make up for Valentine's. He'd only reply with, a what? Lol? Continuing on with his innocent persona, but he'd never say, oh, no, actually, wait, like, I want to meet up as friends. I'm actually in a relationship. Not once.
Exactly.
The next section will be titled, Following My Private Instagram. He would also follow my personal private Instagram that is only available to my IRL friends and family while using his official Sykkuno account. So here we can see an image of Sykkuno following her with her personal account name being hidden since it's personal. The next section will be titled, Making Plans to Meet Me in Person. So bear in mind, this was the next day, okay, the 16th of February. They had started talking on the 15th. He followed her on the 14th.
Okay.
The document would say, in this 2-hour Discord gaming call, the same day as our first conversation, Sykkuno made plans to meet me IRL. It was set to be the same weekend as Dokumi 2026 since he was flying over anyway to attend TwitchCon EU. Going to the aquarium would be our first date. I also learned that there is a
Do you think he's gonna go to TwitchCon is in May?
15-year age gap between us. Right, so look, I personally spoke to the victim about this. I asked, like, would that usually have been like a red flag or a turnoff? She said yes. But the thing is, this is Sykkuno we're talking about here, right? So she made an exception because as you saw in the intro of this document, she used to—
That's always how it goes. That's always how it goes. You know, when I made that video about age gap relationships on my commentary channel, girls are like, well, Brittany, I'm 19, but he's 35. Is there an exception? And I'm like, girl, on a planet of 8 billion people, sure. But also, it's not going to be you. Like, you know, it's never you. And even saying there's an exception is playing into just a like scientific probability, but it's not an ethical one. It's not an ethical probability, right? And that's the issue. We're dealing with ethics here. This is about morals here, right? This is a philosophy channel. So this is morals and ethics. So I understand you. I want to reassure you that I'm sure in a planet of 8 billion people. And also, when you really start to think you're the exception, that's really where abuse comes into place so significantly, because now that's what he's hoping. He's hoping you think you're the exception. Let me tell you this, even the exceptions aren't the exceptions. That's Brittany's belief. My personal belief is even when you're the exception, you're not really the exception. Not in that kind of an age gap. But I'll play a game with you, sure. But I don't think so.
Watch him in high school. She genuinely looked up to him. To say that she was starstruck was an understatement, and that's exactly what he was counting on. Now, while keeping that 15-year age gap in mind, this next section definitely hits different. It's titled, Making Plans to Move In Together. These messages would be on the 17th of February, 2 days after they started talking. It would say, with Sykkuno, our relationship moved so incredibly fast, it almost felt like a dream. It was like he could make anything I wanted happen. And as someone as prolific and successful as him, I had no reason to doubt anything he said to me. These screenshots show that Sykkuno and I were intending to adopt a cat and have me possibly move into his house.
What?
I told him we couldn't get a cat yet due to me not being a US citizen and possibly having visa issues. Keep in mind, this conversation happened 2 days after the first conversation. So in this first image of these set of DMs, we can see them talking about pets in general, right? About how he might be allergic to certain pets, about how his current dog doesn't trigger his allergies. So they start discussing the prospect of getting a cat. Mal would say,
Okay, hold on. Okay.
I mean, if I'm there anyways, we'll have to think of a name, no? To which Sykkuno would say, yeah, but I don't know if I can take care of it myself. Mal would say, or we're just going to name it Cat. He'd say, you'll have to stay to help take care of it, lol. To which she'd say, I'm okay with that, though I don't know how that would work with me staying there. I can't stay forever either, you know, because I'm not an American citizen and I'll also probably have to go back as well. Because I mean, I hope at least that I can go back to studying end of this year. And like in general, everything is so expensive.
Yes, girl, focus on your education.
He'd say, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe we can get a cat together another time then. Besides, don't you already have a cat? To which she'd say, yeah, but they're my dad's. Also, did you finally order the food? And he'd say, oh, I see. So you wouldn't have to bring them if you just moved somewhere. To which she'd say, no, I guess not though. I'd miss them so much, so I definitely have to get new pets. So barely a couple days after speaking to each other, Sykkuno's out here discussing getting a pet together, taking care of it, raising it together, and looking into the possibility of her maybe moving in together with him one day. This was as he was sharing a home with his girlfriend.
Oof.
The next section will be titled, Lying About Being Single and Dating History. In this screenshot, Sykkuno said he has only ever had one relationship his entire life. I would eventually find out that that was a lie and that he had been dating and living in the same house as his girlfriend for years and that I was not the only
Shout out to the girlfriend. I really feel for her. She must be devastated.
Girl on the internet that he spoke to on a daily basis. So here we can see DMs of them discussing this topic. Mal would say, I mean, you've been in relationships before. It's not like it's your first relationship, referencing what they might potentially have going on. To which he'd reply with, I don't know, lol. I've only actually dated someone once and they broke up with me. So yeah, I think I'm just not very good. So it's probably just a me issue.
Wait a second. I mean, you've been in a relationship before. It's not like your first relationships. He says, I don't know, LOL. I've only like actually dated once and they broke up with me. So he's like, he's got a backstory, a character arc, a lore, a whole thing for this persona that he's created. This is disgusting. Disgusting. And I've already seen men on the internet trying to defend him. And I just need you to know, girl, block, walk away. Absolutely not. This is gross.
To which she'd say, did you like never do anything for your ex, like at all? To which he'd say, I mean, I think I did. I don't think she thought I did. So yeah. But I mean, everyone has their own way of what they want. So it's important to be like, are you getting what you want? And if you're not, I totally understand. Mal, of course, would want to inquire as to what he was saying. Like, what do you mean you think you did? Like what? But he'd never specify and he'd always keep it vague, keeping up this persona that he crafted, the one that was allergic to love, that had no idea like what was going on with women.
Yeah, Discord says future faking. With future faking, it's like the love bombing, the future fake. I don't know what the real terminology is psychologically, but just the technique. It's a pattern. It's a technique. It's on purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no I've already seen TikToks of people trying to create conversations around how like, oh, like, you know, how do we know this isn't her? Because of the whole context of the situation. She doesn't have to be a perfect person, because I know that's what everyone always wants, a perfect victim. But there's no way to justify what he's done in any capacity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, if you know fans might be so overwhelmed with who you are, because human beings are animals on a planet and we're evolved and we have problems, then it's your responsibility to make sure that you're not talking to a fan, like a fangirl. Because yes, as public figures, we deserve to find love and we deserve to find connection and we deserve to fall in love too. And maybe that's somebody who happens to read our book or watch our YouTube video or know us from somewhere, or maybe something. But there is a difference between adults who watch you, fans. God bless you, fans. You really make a creator popular, let me tell you. But you also can never be the person that creator could ever be themselves with, because you don't even see them as a person. You can't. Fans, by their own definition, because of the parasociality, will struggle deeply to see people as people. That's why you make thirst cams, and that's why you make fan cams, and it's why you get people tattooed on you, because they're not a real person. You know, they're like a fantasy, right? The context, it doesn't make any social sense except to say you're a fan. So this is why, you know, it's not to say that adults in a situation, because I know people say, oh, they're both legal adults. Sure. But even if they're both legal adults, you have to talk about the fan part of it, right? Think about those scammers we've watched online with these women who are grown, these men who are grown, but they think like Brad Pitt is messaging them, or they think a K-pop star is messaging them. Like, as much as we want to believe human beings are well, you're not well. Look at Sykkuno. He's not well. We're looking at a man who had everything you could ever want on paper, a girlfriend, a relationship, millions of dollars, everything, and it wasn't even enough. He's not well. The world is suffering. And look at the way that it's displayed countless times, time and time again, girl.
This would lead us right into the next section titled sexting. We texted every single day, and these interactions would be charged with flirting and suggestive topics. I would send him suggestive pictures and audios, and he would confirm that he'd touch himself to them. Additionally, he'd always act flustered and inexperienced, keeping up the illusion of his on-stream innocent persona. We'd also regularly talk about date ideas and things we'd like to do together in the future when we'd meet up IRL. Topics that are usually discussed between two adults who are clearly romantically interested in each other. On top of texting, we also called almost every single day, even after he'd stream for over 8 hours. We talk and play games regularly. One thing I'd noticed is that every time we called and when he spoke, he'd be whispering and never fully use his voice. His excuse was,
Chat said, I don't think he needed her to be a fangirl in order for the manipulation to work. Well, in this situation, how would this relationship make any sense outside of being a fangirl? If she was a coworker, it wouldn't have worked this way. If they were, if she wasn't a fan, then him messaging her wouldn't have mattered. She would have been like, okay. Or like him following her wouldn't matter. She'd just be like, I know who this guy is, right? It only worked. The manipulation only worked, and he knew it would only work because she was a fangirl. He manipulated and exploited the fact that she was a fangirl. That's the point. Is that that's why I say girls decenter men. Because if you as a grown-up aren't decentering men, then you are basically objectifying them enough to be a fangirl enough that when a man, because of his status and celebrity and the fantasy, comes into your social sphere, you will treat them like non-people. And I'm saying that's usually because people are in fan mode. And I'm saying maybe it's because also the way my parents raised me, nobody is worth being a fan of. They're just people. So when you freak out, you're doing a thing that doesn't treat a person like a normal person. You're doing the fan thing, right? Like one time I was at a convention, and if this person still watches me, like no judgment. One time I'm at a convention, and it's one of those YouTube conventions where like there's multiple stages on the floor, and somebody screams so loud, like the loudest scream you've ever heard. And we all whip around to look, like people on stage stop, everybody stops. And it's a girl running right towards me. And I'm like, oh no, she runs right towards me, Habibi. And I hugged her and I was like, hi. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting. And I was like, thank you for your enthusiasm. But, you know, I was like, we got to tone it down, girl. And like, that is fan behavior. Respectfully, that you girl, I could not trust you to hang out with you, right? Because like now I know like this is a lot. Okay, so no judgment. You're not a bad person. Like I said, fans really make a creator. If I had more fans, I'd be more popular. But because most of my audience is just like really reasonable adults who happen to like the content and learn from it, you guys don't make me popular. See, this is your fault. I'm not popular. But also, it's one of the reasons why I have one of the healthiest communities on the internet. I have one of the healthiest communities on the internet because 99% of you aren't fans. Okay. But if any of you want to play a fan and make little TikToks of me, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. Okay. So with that said, okay, there is a line in the sand. He knows the kind of Twitch YouTuber he is. He knows why girls follow him. He knows his reputation. And he knows he's in a relationship. He knows he's in a relationship. How are you going to be in a relationship and be like, tee-hee, texting a girl, talking to her every day? Like, why are you talking to this girl every day? Who is she? Okay, so we know he's a liar. We don't have to play games about the situation. We already know how this ends, right?
That it's because he was tired after a long stream, and I didn't really find that to be suspicious. Using your voice for 8 hours in a row does exhaust it after all. I now realize that he was quiet because his girlfriend lived with him and he didn't want her to hear. So in this first set of DMs, we can see them discussing things to watch together. Saikuna saying, let's watch something. Mal would say we should.
How does he have time to cheat like this? This is actually insane. Like, I work so much as a streamer, YouTuber. I feel like I never get enough time with my partner, and I see them every day, all day. We live together. But like, I always feel like I never have enough time with my partner. How does he even have time to do all these things with other people? What is he telling his partner he's doing? Because my partner, like, they'll check in on my stream to see if I'm still working. Or they'll listen at the door and be like, is she still streaming? And then, because they come in to see me every day after work, or I go to see them every day after work. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand what's happening. How do cheaters always do this? How do cheaters always have a full-time job? How do they always have a second family? Some of you told me some of your family members have second families, like your grandpas. How do you even make this work? I don't get it.
He would say, let's watch a Netflix dating show because those are funny, or both. And Mal would say we should. And do you also want to play games like Helldivers or Overwatch or etc.? In the next image, we can see them discussing the spicy audio that she sent him at some point. He'd say, you do too. She would say, yeah, like in that audio.
Hold on, you do too. You have the audio.
The recording I sent you, to which she would act flustered over and say, huh? Oh my God. Well, yes, you really sounded cute in that too. To which she would say, did you ever re-listen to it or only that once? In the next screenshot, we can see them discussing going on a...
I tried my best to sound good for you. Wait, why'd you send me $81? She's like shocked. He said, oh, you said you wanted the new Resident Evil game. I mean, specifically, it's 81. I don't know. It just... specifically 81. I don't know. It just translates to 100 for USD. LOL. Okay. Then she says, we'll work out together. Then I can spot you. You know, gym dates are also cute.
Gym date. Mal expressed to him how much she enjoys going to work out at the gym, and so Saikuno would inquire about what a gym date looks like. This is when they discuss it more. In the next two set of DMs, we can see them talking.
You know, this is also why I don't take money from people. The only time I let people pay for me is when I get them back, and or if they're very close to me. But anytime if a man uses words, if a man sends me money, I send it back. Absolutely not. If a man says, let me fly you out, absolutely not. If you use objectifying patriarchal language to flirt with me, absolutely not. Deconstruct the patriarchy. If you deconstructed patriarchy, you wouldn't let a man send you money. Because the only reason a man should be sending you money is because it is literally a part of your profession. Or he is your brother, your father, or your husband. Okay? Or your bestie gay friend. You know, caveat, caveat, caveat. Okay? But no guy on the internet in this context should be sending you money. I'd be like, girl, what are you doing? Okay?
About more spicy topics. Mal would say, you get flustered so easily. And then Saikuno would say, because I'm not. I've never done like this kind of thing before, lol. To which she would say, and? You don't like it? He'd continue saying, which is crazy because I'm older than you, but like I haven't really dated much, so. And then Mal would say, so? You have me now. He'd reply with, my XP bar is low, but no, I do it. I've never gotten something like this before. Yes, I like it. It's so good. I can't wait to use it later. As in, I can't wait to grill my sausage to it later, whatever she sent. To which she would reply with, you know, I've kind of wondered if you've ever touched yourself while watching what I send you. To which he'd say, what? Why would you wonder that? She'd say, well, because they're spicy pictures and videos. Of course, I wonder if you put them to use. And then he'd say, I'll definitely put this one to
Okay, so heavy flirting. She thinks they're like basically kind of dating. She feels like this is appropriate. I'm not mad about it. I'm mad about him. She's young. She's enthralled. She's been told and trained under patriarchy to think older men with money they really like you, celebrities if they pick you, right? This is like deconstructing pick me. It's a whole thing, right? Like I have to give her the benefit of the doubt because she's a kid, right? He doesn't get it. He's the one in the relationship. He's old. And also, right? Like this is, they're talking. But this is what I'm saying. Like, he's so obviously evil. He's so obviously philosophically evil. He's so obviously taking advantage of her.
use. She'd say, so you've never done so before? And then he would say, maybe in all caps with a flustered sweating emoji. This is when she'd put her foot down and say, I want a yes or no. And then he would say,
okay, so now we're doing the thing where he's the older guy who's a bottom and she's the younger girl who's the top, right? Like, that's basically like what's happening. So that's the shtick. That's the shtick. You know?
yes, of course I have. How could I not?
And then she'll tell herself, oh, see, I was in charge. I knew what I was doing. I was toppy. He was the bottom. Oh, she took advantage of me. I'm just a little bottom. It's like,
Overall, these DMs were a balance of spicy and wholesome, just like what you'd expect.
Hey guys, just a newsflash, bottom and top, those are like dynamic positions. It's a dynamic. So you can be a bottom who's abusive. You can be a top who's a victim. You can be a top who's abusive. You can be a bottom who's abusive, or the top. What did I say? You know what I'm trying to say. The point is, those don't tell me anything about you.
When two people are romantically interested in each other, saying goodnight to each other.
Okay, going to bed now. Good night. Hope you have a good rest and that you're feeling better today. He said, you don't have to send me what the heck, LOL, but I hope you feel as good as you look. I know you said you weren't feeling great today or yesterday. She said, I'm feeling a little bit better. Yeah. He said, I love getting compliments. Oh, she said, I love getting compliments from you. And good morning, handsome. What are you up to? Okay. She's, ironically enough, maybe I'm missing it somewhere, but she is communicating pretty well for somebody so young. She's making it clear. She's interested. She wants to go on a date. She's telling him I like compliments. Like, if he was her age and this was a consensual relationship, right? You know what I mean? But how can she have informed consent if she doesn't know he's in a relationship and if he's taking advantage of her because he's so old? See how this is a great example of not informed consent? She doesn't even know what she's consenting to because she's under the wrong impression, right?
Inquiring on their health. He'd compliment her on her appearance. She'd say, I love getting compliments from you. Good morning, handsome. What are you up to? But this romantic interest wouldn't just be expressed with words. No, for Sykkuno, he'd make sure to express it financially, too. This is what would lead us to the next section, titled Sugar Daddy. Less than a month later, Sykkuno would randomly ask for my PayPal account in DMs. He'd then waste no time in sending me money unprompted, something that I'd later realize was simply a behavioral pattern that he'd employ with women he'd expressed interest in.
Okay, now some people were like, why would you accept money from a man? Again, I would never recommend doing this. And I would say if she thought they were dating and they thought they were leading up to hanging out together, that maybe at this point it would feel comfortable enough to take money because, or to receive money or to accept money, right? And so I just want to say that he shouldn't have sent the money. He's 35. He should have known better. Why are you, did she ask you for money? No. So why are you sending her money, right? So now it's going to make it look like, oh, she's the gold digger when he's the one who sent her the money. You know what I'm saying? And if she thinks they're dating, then hello?
To reiterate that I have never asked him for his money and he did this of his own volition. He bought me both a gym jacket, linked below, and Resident Evil 9 because I had expressed interest in that game. Here we can see two payments. The first one sent on the 28th of February 2026, 81 euros, and the second one being 200 euros on the 5th of March 2026. The sender was the business, Sykkuno. He'd innocently ask for a PayPal username on the 28th of February. He'd start out the conversation with, you still aren't asleep either? To which she'd say,
wait, he said, good morning, what's your PayPal so I can buy you games later? She said, straight to the point, Jesus, I need to update my email to my PayPal because it's my old name before I rebranded. Yeah, I think the reason I take such a sort of feminist and especially intersectional feminist approach to this is because if you rely on a foundation of your philosophy, especially if you try to incorporate like some egalitarian or something associated philosophy, you could at least start off with, you don't have to buy me something. It's good. Unless it's a deconstructed relationship with money. And this is what's difficult because money is so tied to patriarchy and capitalism and power. You just have to be careful about how people are utilizing money. Like I said, I have done plenty of social events with YouTubers. They buy me dinner, I buy them dinner. It's a group event. You know, you just do it out of a courtesy. I'm a Syrian. We fight over the bill. It's normal. Okay, culturally speaking, when you're two adults in the room, you fight over who pays the bill. That's normal. When you're a grown-up who's 34 and you're texting a fan who's 19, okay, a content creator who's 19, now asking her for the PayPal or buying her games, that comes with a heavy burden of possible abuse. I think one of the greatest things we can do as creators, as public figures, is yes, understand that there definitely are people on the internet we will meet, that we will have amazing friendships with, amazing relationships with, and to know the difference between who's a fan and who's not. If you're ethical, we already know he's a bad person. So there's no way to fix Sykkuno. But for all of us who are on the internet and trying to form relationships, guys, one of the ways you can bring down the probability of harm is not sending people money, not sending sexy messages without clear consent, making sure everyone is of age, making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure that people have informed consent. None of that was happening here because, again, we didn't know he was in a relationship. His friends, some of his friends said they didn't even know he was in a relationship, which I'm not sure what that means. So I'm going to have to hear maybe clarification of that. But like they just didn't know. I mean, he really was being manipulative on a lot of fronts here, right?
I fell asleep, woke up again because I'm having trouble sleeping. He would then say, oh, well, good morning. And what's your PayPal so I can buy you games later? She'd say, huh? Straight to the point. Jesus, I need to update my email to my PayPal because it's my old name from before I rebranded. When he would send her money for a gym jacket, at some point she'd say, want me to send it back? To which he'd say, no, I wanted you to get a nice gym vest, lol. Especially because it seems like you're really passionate about working out, so I thought it'd be nice. And then you can remember me when you're wearing it.
See? And you can remember me when you're wearing it. I thought it was a cute idea, LOL. So he's just fully leading her on. She is fully convinced they're in a relationship, right? Like fully. And she even said, wait, hold on.
Cute idea.
Wait, that's just an American thing. Want me to send it back? No, I wanted you to have a nice. So she even offered to send the money back, right? This is what this message is. She even offered to send it back. See? And then it's like, okay, listen, let me just tell you this, okay? This is what's crazy. The other day, one of my very, very close friends, like me and this girl have known each other for like, I don't even know, 8 years, 9 years, who knows? It's been forever. She literally is like, Brittany, I want to send you this gift for your birthday. And I was like, no, I don't, you don't need to do that. Like, you're good. And she's like, I want to send you this. And I was like, girl, like, you do not need to spend this money. Like, it's fine. And then we went back and forth as is courtesy. And then we came to a consensus that I would research it and maybe, but like, also, I don't want to reject people's money. But I also, and what she said to me is like, you're my friend and it's your birthday and I love you. Let me send you a gift. And I was like, okay, girl, but we're friends. We hang out in real life. She knows my partner. She knows my life. She knows my siblings. She's met my family. She's my friend. You know what I mean? And I still don't want her to ever think I'm taking advantage of her. I still don't ever want people to think I want their money. And still, at the end, you let people you love buy you gifts. Because they want to love you by buying you gifts. But you see how there's a background and a history and a love there. This is not this. This is different. You don't have history. You don't have rapport. You don't know her family. You're not friends. This is why it's weird. Why are you buying girls on the internet gifts? It's weird.
She'd buy one, she'd wear it, she'd send it to him, and she'd say, I wore it with the green set because I know how much you like green. She'd also make a tweet on her account while wearing it, saying, this gym jacket is literally so comfy, the muscle mommy arc will be real. So up until this point, this was Mal's experience with Sykkuno. The next section is titled, A Calculated Pattern of Love Bombing and Manipulation. And this is where we talked about Elfilea's side of the story. The document would say, after speaking to Elfilea a few days ago, we were able to corroborate our experiences with Sykkuno and learned that we were both victims of this. We had no idea that he was talking to both of us at the same time. Sykkuno is known to send hundreds of dollars to the girls he wants to get involved with. This screenshot is from when he took my friend Elfilea to Paris during the 2025 TFT tournament, along with sending her 500 euros to help her move into her new apartment. You can clearly see that this was sent from his business email's PayPal account. So unlike the other image that was supplied by Mal, here we can clearly see this is Sykkuno at hotmail.com sending her all this money, a substantial amount, around 1,550 euros, all under his business email. Here are the DMs in which we can see that he offered to pay for her flight to TFT Paris, as well as all the
You think you wrote that off on taxes?
food and hotel fees there, pretty much taking care of her financially during the entire trip. So this starts off as far back as April 2025, with Sykkuno telling Elphilia, I'm probably going to Paris later this year for sure. I'm not sure on TwitchCon yet. I'm afraid I don't know enough people. He'd say, you should come to Paris when I go to it. Is it close? To which she'd say, Paris is pretty easy to go to, yeah, since it's in the European Union. He'd say, you better hang out then when I go there. She'd reply with, I'll have to see because I know nothing and no one there and it's expensive. To which he would say, I'll pay for it. Don't worry. She'd say, whoa, really? You do that? And then he'd say, yeah, of course. And all the food.
I mean, that's nice if you guys are friends, homies, or dating. And I guess like she, you know, wait a second.
She'd reply for sure. Starts off as well as all content along.
Let me just look something up.
Ami Green. She'd also make a tweet on her account.
Wait, is this a different girl? They're different usernames. Wait, is this one girl or two girls? Wait.
Elphia can clearly see that this was sent from his business email.
After speaking to Elphia, is Elphia in Paris 2025? Wait, am I now confused again? No, it's the same girl, but different name?
Hotmail.com sending her all this money. DMs in which we can see that he offered to.
And then he offered to throw her out? No, there's two girls. This is a different username and name. This is the second girl?
Pay for her flight to TFT Paris as well as all the food.
Oh, it says paying for another girl to fly out. Sorry, guys. I'm a streamer. I'm dealing with 3 monitors here, okay? So I just got confused for a second. My dyslexia really kicked in. Okay. There are 2 girls, and this is the second one. That's crazy.
And hotel fees there, pretty much taking care of her financially during the entire trip. So this starts off as far back as April 2025, with Sykkuno telling Elphilia, I'm probably going to Paris later this year for sure. I'm not sure on TwitchCon yet. I'm afraid I don't know enough people. He'd say, you should come to Paris when I go to it. Is it close? To which she'd say, Paris is pretty easy to go to, yeah, since it's in the European Union. He'd say, you better hang out there when I go there. She'd reply with, I'll have to see because I know nothing and no one there and it's expensive. To which he would say, I'll pay for it. Don't worry. She'd say, whoa, really? You do that? And then he'd say, yeah, of course. And all the food. She'd of course be ecstatic about this and say, you'd have to deal with my annoying ass though. And he would say, but you got to choose places to eat, like the restaurants. And she'd say, deal. One day later, he'd reiterate, you're fine. You never have to pay for anything. Don't worry, lol. How much is the flight usually from Netherlands to Paris and back? Because she lived in the Netherlands at the time. I think I'm going for like a TFT tournament or something like that. On the 10th of December, 2025, we can see her saying, I'm boarding now. See you soon. To which he would reply with, see you soon. You have the hotel info, right? Since they were going to share a room. This brings us to the next section titled Elphilia's Experience. Elphilia would talk to Sykkuno on and off for the span of 5 years. Whoa. During that time, she had absolutely no idea that he had a girlfriend in the 5 years that she had known him. And on
Holy fuck! That's crazy. 5 fucking years?
Off flirted with him. Anytime she would bring up the topic of his love life, he would give the response of playing too many games and not going out enough to meet women to date. So bear in mind, she knew him since like 2021, back when he was like the most desired man on the entirety of Twitch or the streaming space. And even with all that flirting, he never once mentioned the relationship he's been in since 2021. So this was in the beginning of his relationship as well. So in this next set of DMs, we can see Elphilia saying,
okay, I will say this. It's also interesting that he's never talked about being in a relationship, because I could not be with somebody who couldn't say they were married. Like, I'm married. You know, I'm married. I never want my married partner to feel like I am hiding them or they are invisible. And I know people will say like, oh, I don't want people to know I'm in a relationship because the internet goes crazy. Well, yeah, but I need you to know I'm in a relationship because it is unethical for me to pretend that I'm single. And the chances of you saying it's to protect your partner, I can see that and I believe you. But also, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding of anything. I am in a partnership. I am monogamous. There is no chance. You know what I mean? Like, even though I did get the funniest DM the other day asking if I was taking boyfriend applications, I shared it on my Discord. Guys, I gotta warn you, if you're gonna send me funny messages on Instagram, I'm gonna screenshot them and share them with my Discord. Because they're so funny. Like, why are you sending me this message? Get a job. Get a job. That's what I'm saying. Like, I will make fun of you. And I do show them to my partner, and we do make fun of you. Okay? Stop sending me stupid messages. And that's the point. Somebody somewhere is going to say yes to one of those messages. Someone somewhere, those DMs work. Ain't gonna work on me. Not around here, partner. You know what I'm saying?
So I have a question for you. Why are you single? Like, how? To which he'd say, huh? That's a crazy question, lol. I think it's a combination of like playing too many games.
Oh, so he full on is like, okay, there you go.
She'd say, why crazy? Why is it a crazy question? The guy was desired by anyone. Even after his viewership had fallen down a little bit, he could still DM anyone and get them to date him. It didn't make sense. The document would say, same calculated behavior and patterns, using his nerdy gamer boy facade to lure women into a false narrative. In this next set of DMs, Elphilia would be saying, you're cute. You're this sweet to all girls, or am I just lucky?
Oh,
to which
brother.
he'd say, wah, lol. Only to the ones I think are cool. So as we can see, Elphilia is just starstruck. She can't believe this. She feels so lucky that Sykkuno, the guy who's desired by everyone, is
Wait, did he say how old this one was?
giving her attention out of anyone else in the world. This is the effect he had on people, and he knew
And this is April 2025.
this. And just like with Mal, he would follow her personal Instagram with his official Sykkuno Instagram page. It's genuinely like a deja vu to what he did with Mal. Like, it's the
Crazy.
same patterns. The guy had a playbook, and he knew how to put it to use. The document would continue. Here is proof that Sykkuno was in Paris for the TFT event around this time too, directly from his Twitter. So here you can see this was posted around the 13th of December 2025.
And look, Toast is there with him.
When he was in Paris. In this first tweet on the left, we can see him taking an image of Lily Pichu, who was also there, as well as him retweeting one of TFT's tweets saying, "Ultimate bragging rights have been secured at the TFT Paris Open." This is them announcing that Sykkuno's team had won, confirming that he was indeed there. The next page of the document would show us a set of DMs between Sykkuno and Elphilia. The date would be the 3rd of March, 2026. So this would be 3 months after they had met up and hooked up. And this would be as he was talking with Mal. He'd say, "Oh my god, I was playing World of Warcraft. I saw this player. It reminded me of you." That's because that player had a similar looking name. She'd say, "Oh, you got reminded of me? That's cute." To which he'd say, "Of course. Oh, I was going to ask, were you planning on going to like Off-Guy or anything like that?" That's a VTuber Expo, right? To which she would say, "I wish, but unfortunately I can't. My rent is now 800 euros per month and I'm living fully off of my savings, so I canceled all my travels for the year." The document would say, to add even more salt to the wound, after Elphilia's Paris trip, and 2 weeks after he had started talking to me, saying things like how he wants to move in with me and such, he would message Elphilia asking her if she'll be at Off-Guy. This is proof that he'd be talking to more than one woman at the same time, planning a hookup for every event he went to. He was doing this while giving me the impression that he wanted something long-term, and all while also having a girlfriend since 2021. Elphilia and I weren't friends until I found out that he was cheating on his girlfriend. This is when we both got in contact with each other and shared our stories. She deserved
Pause. This is why women should gossip. Healthy gossip is sharing facts. Unhealthy gossip is spreading rumors. Do not spread rumors about people. That's unethical. But what is healthy is being like, "Hey, do you know this guy? I'm dating this guy. Do you know him?" Because if women talked more, as we should, if we were open about what we were doing, we'd be like, "Hold up. I think I know him." And I'm not saying you should put it on the internet and say, "Girl, is anybody else dating this guy?" But I'm saying in your communities, in your friend groups around, like, "Hey, I'm dating this guy." Okay? Because it helps, or "I'm dating this girl, I'm dating this they, them." Okay? And it's just nice. And it's about safety at the end of the day.
Serves the world. The section would end with both Sykkuno and Elphilia talking about random topics, and then at the end of this DM chain, we can see Sykkuno saying, "How was your day?" To which she would reply with,
Because let me just tell you this, girl. Nothing is happening interesting in our life that we can't just tell our friends. Because unless you are cheating or unless something crazy is happening, why can't I tell a girl that I'm talking to you? Now, you might say, "Oh, you got to keep it private because I'm a famous person and you're telling people you're seeing me," which is a tactic scammers use, right? "Don't tell anyone you're dating me. My fans can't know." Okay, but like, I'm a grown adult and I can't consent to this relationship. I'm not consenting to a relationship where I can't even tell my family and friends. Like, it's one thing to say that, yeah, I don't want to go around bragging. How rude. It's not like, I was dating my partner and they were going around, you know what I mean? But they were still telling their parents, their family, their friends, their besties, because it's serious. "Hey, I'm dating this person who lives in a different country than me. I'm going to go visit her just in case she wants to serial kill me. Here's her address." Like, yeah, who knows? And same when I went to go visit him, I was like, "Hey, just in case you serial kill me," I gave my mom your info. Because even though we're in our 30s and we're adults, you want to be safe. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there's so many things that this is obviously a red flag, but this is the problem with young people on the internet. They're vulnerable. Young people on the internet should be protected by older people, not victims. So when you choose to go for the most vulnerable people, you're scum. I mean, you shouldn't go for anybody, but you're scum.
Awful. Spent the whole day crying. Crying right now. Why do some men cheat? I'll never understand. The document points out that this is ironic, seeing that Sykkuno is a cheater himself.
Wait. No, that is the worst. That never feels worse than when you are complaining to somebody you think who gets it. Like, "I can't believe they're cheating. I can't believe that's so horrible." And the guy you are crying to is a cheater. Oh, that's painful.
So as you can see, when these two women spoke to each other and shared their stories, they were shocked. Shocked to know that they were being used so casually, and shocked to know that this man was in a relationship. But how is it that he did this for years with no consequences? How is it that there are many Elphilias and Mals out there with no one saying a thing? Well, they kind of did, which is what the next section is all about. It's titled "Rumors and Broken Friendships." As I mentioned in the intro, no one made a public statement before because they never had sufficient evidence. Sykkuno would always talk about the most explicit and sensitive topics in voice calls or in person, never leaving a paper trail. This was all intentional. Rumors still managed to spread. Many content creators, both big and small, would vent to their friends about his behavior. Behind the scenes for many, he'd be known as a predator who regularly took advantage of smaller and or vulnerable content creators. The reason why Sykkuno would abruptly stop hanging out with certain people throughout the years is because of this predatory behavior. However, he'd managed to keep enough influential friends around him to legitimize his position in the space, especially seeing that many of those friends were women who would have normally stood in solidarity with any sort of victim, making it seem like he was safe enough to trust because they trusted him enough to be a friend. As Elphilia spoke with Sykkuno, she'd tell him about rumors that she had heard from someone else, about how Sykkuno had a roster of readily available women, and how they all coincidentally were smaller content creators who wouldn't dare touch him if something went wrong. Elphilia, of course, didn't believe this. After all, Sykkuno had a calculated pattern that worked perfectly in his favor. His innocent, naive demeanor wouldn't dare hurt a fly, so why would he hurt me? So here we can see DMs between Elphilia and Sykkuno. She would start this off with saying, I don't know, he said he dislikes you, referencing a friend of hers, and that you only go for girls that are small so you can manipulate them with your shy persona. Yet he is doing that to my friend right now. To which Sykkuno would say, oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that's true, but I guess people will say stuff randomly. I'm confused as to these people who think I'm going for them. I haven't really done that. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, like I said before, people who know me will know me, and I guess he just dislikes me, which is totally fine. She'd say, exactly. He did say the only reason you haven't gotten called out is because you go after small creators and they'll never expose you. If you ever need proof of anything, I have receipts, just in case he tries anything funny.
This is so sad. I think a lot of us have been here in our personal private lives, in our streamer lives, whatever, where, you know, you really want to believe people and you're like, no, they wouldn't do that, would they? And then they manipulate you, they use you. And then that's why I say women are always held responsible for the abuse of men. Men will be abusive and women will be manipulated by them. And then when we defend them thinking like, no, they wouldn't lie to me. And then we realize like, uh-oh. And that's why we go harder because we're like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know. That is so fucked up. And this is why I say, girls, decenter men. Decenter patriarchy. If the man hasn't truly shown an embodied value, you are just, you know what I'm saying? He will use his friends. He will use you. I mean, you know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, we have to empower each other to rely on some form of ethics that says absolutely not. So pay attention to how people are reacting to this story, hey? Pay attention to how people, even women, even anybody who's still hearing this, and they're doubting. Now, listen, everyone doesn't have the same information. I get that. I see that in my own community sometimes where I'm like, you don't know what's going on? Like, do you know what's going on? We don't always know. But I promise you, if you do your due diligence, and we all do our due diligence, okay, and then you still defend, uh-oh.
Sykkuno would say, oh, I feel like the way VTubers are, they would love to try and expose bigger streamers. They love drama, lol. But it's not true, so I think it's fine. I don't need receipts or anything. It's fine. But I thought he was chill. I'm kind of sad he was so angry. Elphilia would say, I know, just making sure you stay safe no matter what, love. Sykkuno would continue saying, I mean, why is he bringing up so much anyway, though? To which she'd say, he's jealous of you. I'm just playing League with him, and he brought you up out of the blue. To which he'd say, I don't think there's much to be jealous of, lol. But hopefully he feels better soon. And Elphilia ends this by saying, he said you hurt 5 of his friends, apparently. So this was on the...
And by the way, do you know who I saw giving a statement about this was Mizkif? And everyone's like, shut up, Mizkif. Literally Mizkif. Who abused, you know what I'm saying? Like Mizkif, right? Like, okay, just because abusive men on the internet hate Sykkuno and call him a fake doesn't mean they're not abusive. Because I used to hear other male streamers talk about him and say, oh, he's such a fake, he's such a loser. But that's because they were also doing the same thing. They were manipulating, lying, cheating. So be careful about who you're getting the criticism from. And that's why I say, you know, that's why as a person who criticizes people, I am trying to tell you where I'm coming from. I'm trying to tell you because I get it, but also, okay, and also, I'm telling you, there's something malicious here when a bunch of men get on the internet, a bunch of streamers get on the internet and start talking about what a piece of shit this guy is. Well, they know for a fact they're doing the same thing.
22nd of December after they had met IRL, and Elphilia had no reason to doubt him, right? She still had no idea that he had a girlfriend since 2021. This is why she was still so readily siding with him. And speaking of cheating, this is what would lead us to the section, Sykkuno's girlfriend. The coincidence that would lead me to finding out the truth about Sykkuno happened last week. A popular male VTuber tried to slide into my DMs to presumably get in my pants, and when I rejected him, he immediately started to mention nasty rumors about Bao. Out of concern for her, I reached out to a mod who then connected me with Bao. The three of us struck up a conversation when I mentioned I was nervous about a date I was going on. They asked me who it was. When I said my date was with Sykkuno, they immediately told me not to go on the date for my own personal safety.
Oh my God.
Bao told me that at the end of March, Sykkuno's girlfriend reached out to her regarding a controversial tweet Bao made last year in 2025. She asked Bao if it was true that the tweet was about Sykkuno. So this tweet in question, right, if you were on Twitter back in October 2025, you would have probably seen it. It went absolutely viral, and it simply just said, if you're an up-and-coming female content creator with a small but growing audience and a much larger and successful male content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream, in DMs, etc., don't walk, run. To 99% of people, this was Bao giving smaller content creators very well needed advice. In reality though, this was a subtweet directly referencing Sykkuno's behavior. Because the document would continue, they called, as in Bao and Sykkuno's girlfriend, and Bao explained to her that other women had confided in her about similar experiences with him. She described a pattern of behavior where he targeted small female content creators and pressured them into having sex with him. Bao then offered to connect her with these other victims so they could share their experiences with her directly.
Look at women coming together. Look at the girls coming together for justice. Ooh, I love how good we rally. This is why we're the backbone of communities. This is why women are the backbone of communities. Let's go.
As she felt it was important to hear them firsthand. This was all discussed during a Discord call. And so here we can see a DM sent by Sykkuno's girlfriend on March 24, 2026.
And by the way, you might say, well, why did they subtweet? Why didn't they fully tweet? Listen, I want to get there. I want to get to a place where all these women full on stop subtweeting because they don't have to, but we still have to live under a patriarchy. We still have not as much power. Remember, in all of my controversies with boys on the internet, they all came out millionaires or were millionaires. I did not. Women do not end up in the same financial place as men, right? So be very careful with this idea of like, why didn't you just say anything? Why didn't you just say anything? Okay. So I would love for us to rally, and I would love for that to be the fact. And I would love for all of us to encourage everyone to go to therapy, do our philosophical work, because you cannot be engaging in this kind of activity and we don't need therapy. We need therapy. Okay, we should not be in these positions. We need feminist theory, we need philosophy, we need deconstruction, and we need to go talk to a mental health professional about the stress of being in this situation.
To Bao, saying, "Hey Bao, I'm sorry to bother you with this, but I heard something recently that was a bit concerning and I thought I would just come ask you about it. I heard that there was possibly an instance of Sykkuno trying to get VTuber girls up to his hotel room to drink with them, and that the tweet you made about being cautious of large male streamers showering you with gifts and attention was about him, in regards to him doing it to one of your friends?" You know, before we get back to the document, this actually reminds me of this one tweet that was posted on Twitter back in October 21st, 2025 during TwitchCon North America, where an innocent fan came across Sykkuno in the lobby of a hotel at 2 a.m. One can only wonder what he was doing there, but as you can see, rumors are very easy to spread once you spot someone in a hotel lobby at 2 a.m. The document would continue. Bao told me that 3 days before I contacted her and her mod, Sykkuno and his girlfriend were trying to reconcile after Sykkuno somehow managed to convince her that it was all a huge misunderstanding. She had no clue that I, as well as many other girls, still existed in Sykkuno's romantic and sexual life. Bao and her mod would put me in a group chat with Sykkuno's girlfriend where I would share all the screenshots you see above. She was rightfully horrified and left the group chat because she couldn't stomach reading them. This is where we can see DMs in the group chat from Sykkuno's girlfriend saying,
It's so hard. It's so hard to imagine the person you've been living with, the person you've been intimate with, the person you've loved. Like, it's so hard to just be in that position. Wow.
Lived with him for over 2 years. We have been together since 2021. And on top of that, everything he's planning with you are things we have planned together and talk about and have done. I'm sorry. At this point, I wouldn't be able to imagine what I would feel if I was in Mal's shoes or anyone else's shoes that Sykkuno had taken advantage of. In fact, I mean, I can't imagine being his girlfriend, hearing these rumors about someone I lived with in the same home and finding out about it this way. Even after he managed to convince me that him sleeping with someone back in December 2025 was a misunderstanding.
Scary.
It's horrifying. This would all lead us to the final section of this document, titled "To All of Sykkuno's Victims." Ever since Sykkuno's viral breakout during the pandemic lockdowns of 2020 when he played Among Us, he has always carefully curated every aspect of his behavior on stream and with friends. An innocent, romantically inexperienced boy failure who looks like an anime character and sounds like one too. This perfectly curated image would attract a large audience of women, with a lot of them openly professing how attracted they are to him. He soaked in the praise and never sought to limit the most extreme aspects of his community because it made him more desirable. He understood this, and would use this curated image, as well as his legitimacy in the content creation space thanks to his followers and famous friends, to seek out any attractive cosplayers and or content creators that were small enough to be starstruck by his grand presence. It would work most of the time, as he'd use the same calculated pattern that he used with me and Elphilia to lure them in, and eventually fly them out to the next convention or event that he went to with the goal of hooking up. What these many women didn't know, though, is that he'd always lie about the fact that he's single, that behind the scenes, he had a neglected and depressed girlfriend that he'd been with since 2021 and who has lived with him since 2024 in the same house. I implore the many other victims to come out about their experiences with this predator. And I end this document with a recording of Sykkuno in which he admits to everything, especially with how he cheated on his girlfriend with my friend and was intending to do that with me as well. For context, this was shortly after I had messaged his girlfriend about his cheating. 30 minutes later, he would ask if I was free for a call. As his girlfriend was crying downstairs, he somehow chose to prioritize someone that he barely met 2 months ago. She's referring to herself. I pointed this out during the call. Here's the link. So the link isn't here right now, but obviously it will be by the time this video comes out. It's okay though, because I have the video. And if you're wondering why you should watch it here, well, it's because Sykkuno's voice is so damn low. I mean, the guy was whispering as if someone was after him with a gun that you could barely tell what he's saying. I actually bothered to add subtitles. This whole recording is 17 minutes long, and as the document stated, he pretty much admits to everything. Watch.
Hello.
Thomas?
Hello.
So?
Well, pretty much know most of it.
Yeah? Like what?
Know what?
No, you can tell me.
Well, wasn't very honest.
Oh.
About single.
About what? You have to speak up a little bit. Your mic's cutting out.
Sorry, always happens. About being single, and I just wanted to tell you how everything happened.
Uh-huh. You're still gonna have to speak up a little bit, by the way. You're still cutting out a lot.
Sorry, I talk quietly.
Yeah, but you never talk this quietly.
I'm sad.
It's the actions of your, well, it's the consequence of your own actions, I suppose.
I know.
Mm.
So basically, I was in a very happy relationship.
Doesn't sound like it, but sure.
Well, let me finish.
Continue.
I was in a very happy relationship a long time ago.
Long time ago. What, like
And then-
2021?
I don't know the exact time, honestly, but a long time ago. Then it got a lot less happy.
How so?
I don't fully know. She just stopped hanging out with me that much, and
Stop hanging out with you. She lives with you.
yeah,
You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear a single sentence that comes out of your mouth. You there?
yes, I'm here.
Oh, hello?
Okay, I'm just asking because you went quiet.
Anyway, so I was very, very happy.
I just want to say, one, I always watch all my videos on 1.25, but two, I did see some criticism of like, why is she talking to him this way? Why is she so combative? She's young. She probably feels very upset on behalf of all the victims, herself included. She's obviously knows she's catching him in a lie, or like in the truth, I suppose, in this case. And it's very annoying. So honestly, I get her attitude because he's lucky she doesn't have more of an attitude, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it wasn't so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when, but like we stopped spending time together. We hadn't done it together for years.
Or what?
He is a streamer for a living. He is literally talking to her like this on purpose. This is absolutely on purpose.
Didn't hear that part.
I said we hadn't done anything together for like years,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just very sad and alone. Didn't feel wanted at all.
Mm-hmm. So you slept with Alfie in Paris.
Yeah.
And then you flirted with me. And were telling me how you wanted me to come visit you in Vegas, and how you wanted to go on a date, and how you were serious about me, and how you really meant it, and how you wanted to go get a cat together.
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Why didn't you just break off the relationship then?
Because a combination of remembering how it was, some part of me hoping it would go back to that, and
Well, obviously it's not going to go back to that if you're actively cheating on her. It's only going to get worse. I think that's really on you, bud. And I know you're smarter than that.
I'm not.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you're a 34-year-old man. Yes, you are. Stop acting like you're a child.
Don't think that's what I'm acting like, but
I mean, you say you're not smarter than that, but you are. You're a 34-year-old man. You just chose to do it. You knew damn well in the back of your head that wasn't going to end up well.
yeah. But it's complicated.
It's really not. Cheating is just bad. She hasn't done anything to ask for it to be cheated on. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, but she relied on me to take care of a lot of things, and I still cared about her.
Okay, that doesn't mean that you do that because you wanted to, not because she was like holding it against you or forcing you to.
No.
Exactly. So there's still no excuse for you to cheat on her.
Not saying there was one, just explaining why it happened.
The only reason why it happened is because you just chose to do it. I don't know why you decided to lie to me, because you know damn fucking well that lying especially is like a big thing I do not tolerate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was fine about the Alfie thing, because I was like, okay, he didn't know me before that, right? But then I find out you've had a girlfriend this entire time. Do you realize how fucked up that is? Because not only were you... Because, sure, you didn't lead Alfie on. Alfie acknowledges that you didn't lead her on, right? Because I've talked to Alfie. I'm friends with her.
Wait.
I've been friends with her before.
He didn't lead Elfie on. Was he single during the time with Elfie? No, because it was 2024 in Paris. He had a girlfriend. Does Elfie know he had a girlfriend? Is that what she's implying?
I met you.
I'm gonna rewind that.
Because sure, you didn't lead Elfie on. Elfie acknowledges that you didn't lead her on, right? Because I've talked to Elfie. I'm friends with her. I've been friends with her before I even met you.
Okay.
Like, she acknowledges that you didn't lead her on. You led me on, though. You did lead me on, though.
Yeah.
You gave me all these fancy-ass promises about, oh, we're gonna go on a date when you come visit here. What, so you could cheat on your girlfriend again? So you could sleep with me so you could cheat on your girlfriend again?
That wasn't...
What were you intending with that?
Well, I thought it was going to, be over.
But what?
Like, I thought that was going to be the end of that.
The end of what?
My previous relationship.
You were gonna break up with so you could date me, or what?
Well, like I said, it'd been a long time where, like, we hadn't...
Oh, Chet's saying Elfie was a hookup. But did Elfie know he had a girlfriend? No, right? But it was like, you're saying it was like a one-night stand or like a hookup. So Elfie didn't think they were dating. She just thought it was sex. But did she know he had a girlfriend? No, right? So then he didn't give her informed consent. You know what I mean? What about STIs? What about testing or panels or, right? It was at the beginning of his relationship with his girlfriend, so I don't know if she knew. Well, hopefully she didn't know.
Spent time together. Hadn't done anything in years.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I thought that was at some point be over.
What? I couldn't hear you.
I said, I thought that meant that was going to be like the end of it.
So you were already moving on before you even broke up with her? Were you intending to break up with her, or were you just waiting for her to break up with you?
Ooh.
No, I don't know. It's
So-
just a really weird
I'm just
mix of like,
Mid-30s. This is a dude in his mid-30s. He's old enough to run for president, right? 38, 38, whatever. He's old is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make a point. He's old. And she's a teenager.
I just want to understand this. So what was your intention with me? Like, where was I in this whole thing? Like, were you intending to date me after her? Like, were you intending to just ditch to go date me?
Great question.
I mean, I guess for me, it felt like it was already.
But that's not what I asked. I'm talking about me.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You were thinking to just ditch her and then date me. What, were you going to do the same thing to me? I'm sorry, but like, you're not really selling this whole relationship thing really well. If this is the type of relationship you uphold.
It's fine. I'm not trying to sell it.
I can tell.
Just trying to explain what's going on.
Yeah. The thing is, if I never reached out to Bao, because I didn't even reach out to Bao about you, right? I reached out to Bao about because he's lied behind my back to a bunch of people, and I was not okay with that. And then started lying about Bao. That's when I reached out to Bao. I became friends with her roommate, and then I was talking with a little bit back and forth, and then you came up in the topic.
Ooh.
And then she told me you had a girlfriend. Ooh. And that your girlfriend has been venting to Bao this entire time. Ooh. About how you gaslight her into staying. You make her feel bad anytime that she like wanted to leave because you cheated on her. And she knew that you cheated on her. She just didn't know who. Because you never told her that it was Elfie. You just told her that you cheated on her in Paris.
Oh, so okay. Elfie was a full-on cheat. The girlfriend knew. He's doing this manipulation thing where he's like, I want the relationship to get better. No, I want. He's telling the girlfriend, I'm working on it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna do great things. And then he's telling her, oh no, I thought the relationship was over. Abuse. Please, please, I beg of you, if you are listening to this and you are truly trying to know what a predator or an abusive person looks like, this is the script. Habibi, listen to me, please. This is the script. This is the script. This is the script in every way. Older guy tries to look vulnerable or hurt, blames his mental health or positioning, says he's trying, but he can't figure it out. He picks people that are vulnerable, that are in a worse position. It doesn't matter the gender, okay? It happens in all communities, but really there is a prevalent pattern of abuse that happens. Maybe they're a streamer. Maybe they're just a handsome guy on Instagram. Maybe they're at your school. Maybe they're at your work. Either way, it's a story that they're telling people. It's a web they are weaving. And I need you just to know, okay? That you can't avoid people lying to you, right? And you can't always perfectly know when they're lying to you, and you're not at fault for believing a lie. And don't beat yourself up if he lies to you so well you believe it. It happens. Just know if you can, this is what it looks like. So if you meet somebody and it starts to really look like this, it's okay to say, I'm not comfortable. You know, I'm just not feeling good about this. I don't feel secure. I promise you, a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship, there will be a level of security. You know, so again, you know, we can't prevent people tricking us. It is what it is. Like abusers will abuse, you know? You can't like read their minds or something. And if you're trying to figure out what might a predator look like, this is good. This is like a really good, just keep it in mind. The dynamic is insane. The stories, and if you're dating somebody, if you're in a relationship, you're living with somebody, you should not feel like you're walking on eggshells. You should not be crying to sleep every night. You should not be constantly in turmoil. You should not be always in turbulence. Healthy relationships, okay? Life is hard, marriage is easy. Life is hard, relationships are easy. So anyone who tells you, you know, marriage is so hard, as a person who's been married a few years now, I'll just tell you, girl, easiest relationship I ever been in, easiest thing I've ever done in my life. You know what is hard? Chronic health. You know what is hard? This economy. You know what is hard? Watching a genocide happen in front of us. But you know what's not hard? My marriage. My marriage. And that is, to be fair, after decades of learning and getting healthy and going to therapy. That's why I recommend it. Find a progressive, feminist, well-informed, intersectional thinking person to go to therapy, and it will help you when you're ready. Okay? This is terrible. This is evil. This is horrible. And P.S., all those people that are going to stand by him, all these people who already came out and said, I'm disappointed, but I'm going to stay friends with him. Keep that in mind, girlies. It's okay if they're on a journey. It is what it is, but you don't need to watch them. Block, don't watch them anymore. They're not safe as content creators. If they decide years later to change their mind, if they have a realization, great. But until they have that realization, they are also not safe to promote. Because if they're going to look the other way for their friend, who else are they going to look the other way for? Now, I get it if they felt like this is like, say, Kuno's like their brother, they're going to know them for the rest of their life, then you can work on rehabilitation off of stream, right? So I know it can get complicated because I don't know how close any of these people really are. But if this is somebody important to you, take the rehabilitation off stream. Because keeping it on stream puts more victims in the viewpoint of the predator. It puts him in a position where he's still in power and he could choose and prioritize other people. Because look, girls, there is always more. I think they did a study. I don't remember the number, so I'm kind of pulling this out of my ass. But if I really can recall what I heard, I believe it takes like 6 victims before people start coming out. So the reason the girls made a call and said, hey, like if you're a victim, come out, is because they know there's more. It's never 1 or 2. It's never the 1 or 2 that come out. It never is.
You think? I don't know if you told her, but I know she knew.
Yeah, I did tell.
Why? Why go through all of this trouble?
Because I didn't know how to
I mean, for God's sake, if the only thing why you even stayed with her is because she relied on me for a lot of things, you can afford to take care of her for a little bit before she gets back onto her feet. Like, at least don't put her through the trouble of like telling her like, oh, like I'm still gonna be with you, like telling her that you're still her boyfriend, while actively cheating on her every single day.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I should have just said how I felt.
Like, you could have just deadass, if the only thing that you were concerned about is the fact that she relied on you for things, you could have
And listen, I already know, okay? I understand. I've seen some future clips. I understand there's going to be a girl who's going to date him. There's going to be people who want to be friends with him. Look, everyone's on a journey. And look, I'm telling you right now, maybe they'll wake up one day and realize they're being re-victimized or victimized by the situation, or, you know, that I'll fix him attitude, or maybe they're just as evil and bad and they're like a horrible person. But usually in these dynamics, women side with abusers because of the ways they've been conditioned under patriarchy. So again, open with boundaries. This is why also I don't answer DMs from even victims anymore, because I cannot be that YouTuber for you. because a lot of the time the victims are really going through stuff. They need therapists, not YouTubers. So you guys need to go to therapy. You need to talk to medical professionals. You can't talk to YouTubers about your problems. Okay. This is different. This is outing a predator. And you still need to go to therapy. So just a reminder, because I usually, when I make a video like this, somebody slides into my DM, I'm not going to answer that DM. Because if anyone can help you in this situation, it's definitely not Brittany Simon. It's a therapist. Okay? Because I guarantee you, there's a possibility that a lot of his victims will still stand by him or want to be in his life, right? That's a perfect pattern for a victim and a predator.
Just supported her until she got back up to her feet. So she could support herself. You know?
And it wasn't just that.
Then what else?
Somehow hoping it would go back to how it used to be.
Well, as I already told you, cheating is not going to make it go back to how it used to be.
It's a lot easier to say that.
It's the truth. It's the harsh truth. Nothing is going to go back the same way that it was if you're going to cheat on someone actively.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm going to change.
You're going to change what?
That's it. Everything.
What do you mean that's it?
Just going to change that.
You're going to stay with her?
Right.
Because honestly, God, I feel like the poor girl's been through enough. I don't think you should have to sit there and keep doing this to her. Because I was in a group chat with her while you were on stream. And this girl's absolutely f***ing distraught because of the shit that you've done to her. The shit that you've put her through. Like, genuinely. Do you know how much that fucks someone up? Like, you already cheated on her once, and she decided to trust you still. She decided to stay with you, despite the fact that you already had cheated on her and admitted to it. And what do? You go onto Twitter and go find the next girl to flirt with. Like, if anything, honest to God, I'm not even mad at this point. I'm just disappointed. I'm really disappointed.
Yep, that's fair.
Because she's been crying to Bao about it. Bao's been sitting there, like, comforting this girl, trying to tell her, hey, maybe you should leave him. Because this isn't okay. This really isn't okay. You're putting this girl through mental strain. Every single day.
Definitely, 100%.
That you continue to be with her. While you're sitting there having fun playing with your friends. Be so honest right now, Thomas.
This is Uncomfortable Silence Part 2.
So you think, you might be right.
Yeah. Like, if it is money that she doesn't have, or if it's a job, or if it's family, or blah, blah, blah,
Gave
blah.
her a lot.
Yeah, well, there, exactly. Just help her back on her feet until she can support herself, and then just leave the girl alone. Because she deserves better than that. Because you cannot sit there and be like, I love her, but do all this shit to her, and continue to let her stay in that situation.
Well, one part of that wasn't true.
What?
What?
I think the feelings faded.
But then you should just let her go.
Is he saying the thing that wasn't true, that I loved her?
Instead of just sitting her there, wasting her time.
Okay, well, anyway.
And also, why'd you get on a call with me when right now she's upset? I know she lives with.
Hold on, pause. Chat said it's not honestly her business if he stays with this other girl or not. Like, say your piece and stop talking to this scumbag. I feel like you guys don't have friends, or you've never been in love, or you've never talked to someone on the phone. Like, this is your fantasy. Your fantasy is you would have handled the social situation perfect, instead of realizing that closure is what people are seeking. She's 19. Do you know what I'm saying? You know how many times I've had these phone calls in my life? Hundreds. Because, not literally, but like between the same people. It takes a long time to move through the emotion. She's also reeling from the fact that this whole thing she's been living is a lie. She's also getting closure. You know what I'm saying? You guys think like these YouTubers aren't real people or something. I feel like literally focus. This is why I say it's hard to be a person and it's hard to do things perfectly. Like, let me just tell you, the statistical probability of his victim still staying in his life is like very high, like 83%. Because it's not that easy. Because you're a person, you're an animal on a planet, you're building connection. So again, you have to understand that this is how real people sound when they're having conversations where they feel intimately connected and or they're like, are you serious right now? Like, yeah, that's how people sound because people are talking.
To you.
I already talked to her.
Yeah, you should be
I
there
told
to.
her I'm going to talk to you first.
You should be there to comfort her. She's the one that you cheated on.
And also, she's standing up for the girlies, the gays, the theys, the he's, hims. Like, this is how girls talk. Like, why are you doing that to her? Why are you being that way? Why'd you do that to her? Like, you know how many times I've yelled at a man for hurting a girl I know? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point, too. And she's not even going to be perfect at it. But yeah, every man I've ever lectured over, like, why would you cheat on her? Why would you do that to her? Why would you put her in that position? Yeah, that's just how it goes.
No, I'm going to be doing that. I just wanted to settle this first.
This is not settled. I'm beyond upset with you. Like, genuinely beyond upset with you.
So it sounds like she's not done getting closure.
I mean,
she said it's not settled.
That's fine. By settled, I mean, like, that's it. Like,
What?
What's it?
Yeah, what?
Probably never talking again.
You and me?
Yes.
What? Why?
See, I told you.
Not why.
What is why? I'm still upset with you, but you didn't cheat on me.
Mm-hmm.
You can still
let me explain
talk
this
to me and be like, make up for your actions. Don't get me wrong, because I always am there for second chances. But I never will forgive you for cheating on her. That's.
Let me explain this. Hold
That's
on. Mm-hmm. Okay, I knew this happened because I saw this clip. Let me explain it. Typical, expected, not surprised. We've all been here. We've all been here. We think we can save him. We think we can help. We think if he just has a good person in his life will change. That's why the meaning crisis for men is so difficult, because people say nobody cares about men's mental health. Okay, but then we try to help and then you betray us anyways. I've done this. You've done this. We've all done this. How many men have come to me crying, I cheated, Brittany, I cheated. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm really disappointed in you. Are you going to go to therapy? Yeah, I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to change. Okay, we'll help you. We won't abandon you. We're not going to abandon you. Okay, okay, change. And then they don't. It's a lesson she'll have to learn. Yeah. This is a what do they call this? It's a walk of passage. It's a part of growing up and seeking wisdom. It is the worst lesson you'll ever learn in your life. Putting more effort into somebody who will never change while they suck every ounce of energy you have. I wish her the best of luck. May she learn this lesson quickly. But if it's a rite of passage. Thank you. It's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage into wisdom. And by the way, if you're not going to learn this with a boy you're dating, you're going to learn it with your father. You're going to learn it with your mother. You're going to learn it with your brother. You're going to learn it with your sibling, your friend. You're going to learn it with your bestie. You're going to learn it with somebody in your life, because it doesn't just come in the form of a boy who thinks you're cute. It comes in the form of a father who promises you he'll stop drinking, a mother who says she'll be there for the first time ever to a soccer game or graduation, a friend who swears this time she's not going to ditch you to go on a date with a boy. You know what I mean? Like, this is a real part of being a person on the planet. It's so painful. It is the reason a lot of us are in so much pain, but I promise you can grow from it. I promise you can go to therapy. I promise you can philosophically accept that everyone is on their own journey and it is what it is. And I promise you can be open with boundaries. I'm telling you right now, I hope one day she learns to block him and never talk to him again, but it's not going to happen until she's ready. It is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. And this is why I say I don't answer DMs from victims, even victims. Go to therapy. Because let's say she watches my video and goes, Brittany's been so empathetic to me, I'm going to reach out to her. And now I'm talking to a girl who's still talking to Sykkuno. I cannot accept this DM. Okay, I'm not saying she's going to DM me, but I've had it happen in the past. And I'm saying, this is why I know you're not ready. I'll see you though in 5 to 10 years when you've got a whole career and you're a whole person and you're a progressive and a deconstructed person and you've done all the work, then I'll see you as a peer. I'll see you as a coworker. I'll see you as a grown-up. But for now, you're not the adult in the room. You're a teenager who got their heart broken. You're disappointed in a grown man who should have known better. And you're going to try your hardest to believe that if you're good enough and he sees that, maybe he'll be good enough. It's a part of the process.
There are a lot of girls that are upset with you, by the way, because Alfie's not the only one that has hit me up.
Yeah, that sounds like you've heard things.
Yeah, and you lied to me a lot about that too. A lot. Because how big was the roster again?
I don't think I ever had one of those.
I mean, maybe not at the same time, but you sure do hop around.
I suppose so.
Yeah. All I care about right now is
right now she's almost like playing a parentified role in a sense. Like I bet she's either been parentified or she has this attitude where people come to her for advice. So she's basically at the top who's like, hey, you did a very bad thing. And I've played this role in a lot of people's lives. Like, hey, you've done a really bad fucked up thing, because no one else will talk to them like that. And then what we think is happening is we think we're getting through to them, but they're not listening. So it doesn't matter how bold you are. It doesn't matter how like honest you are, transparent. They don't care. They kind of think it's hot. If anything, they kind of think like it's fun. And that's the problem. She probably thinks it's really working. It's not, but it's a part of growing up.
Is that okay? Keep me updated on that.
I don't know if that's a possibility.
You can keep me updated on how she's doing. You can keep me updated on when she moves out, because I don't think she should be living with you anymore.
I don't think you need me to do that.
I mean, yeah, I care about her. Like,
Yeah, she can do that.
True. I'll just reach out to her then. But yeah, no, just like go talk to her. She needs you.
And by the way, Chad says, I feel like cheating is now for me a deal breaker, no matter the context. I low-key feel like getting back together with the cheater is almost the result of a self-worth or a normalization. Well, I'll just tell you this. Not only is cheating absolutely off the limits, but even relationships with my brothers. My brother, fun fact, was a Sykkuno fan in my life. I mentioned I had a friend earlier. It's my brother. And it's the same brother who hits on teenagers. And I haven't talked to him in almost 2 years. So girl, if I don't have to, and I love my brother unconditionally, but I haven't talked to him in like 2 years. So girl, stop talking to this man. I know what it's like. Trust me. I know what it's like to have a brother who's in his 30s that you knew as a child, you loved him, you changed his diapers, only for him to grow up. And yes, I can point out childhood neglect. I can point out a lot of bad things that happened. At the end of the day, these are still grown men who are making decisions. These are still grown men that when I try to reach out and help, they reject it. They're not going to change, right? If they want to change, they would have to become a brand new person. So as somebody with the lived experience of having a brother, okay, I'm telling you right now, I know this pattern in men. And yes, I understand. I understand better than most people what it's like to love such a flawed person. And I will tell you this right now, open with boundaries. And like I said, my brother is my brother. I love him unconditionally. And I still don't talk to him. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's not cut off, because that's different. But I don't talk to him. There's a difference here. Okay? Is this man even your brother? Is he even inner circle? Or is he just a boy you met on the internet, girl, that you're going to have a fading memory of by the time you get to 50? You know what I mean? Is he just going to be a boy you knew? When you're ready, cut him off, girl. You know what I'm saying? People mistake it. They mistake the differences, So if it is your loved one, there are generational curses, trauma, get people into help, get people into medical care if you can. And then if this person is casual, boom, knock it out of the way, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Right now. Yeah, no, just go talk to her. She needs you right now.
Yeah, okay. Oh, bye.
Bye, Thomas.
Shortly after the call, the last thing Mal would ever say to Sykkuno would be, I'm beyond disappointed in you. So look, according to Mal, there are countless other victims. It is completely up to them on whether they want to come out with their side of the story or not. For now, though, we can confirm at least 2.
This is 4/4/2026. So April was the last time she had contact with him 10 days ago. Because it's the 14th right now.
different people that were completely misled by him as he cheated on his girlfriend so comfortably. In those two instances, we can see him also using the same playbook, the same tactics, sending them money, making them feel special, following their personal Instagram, wanting to meet ASAP, to hook up, everything. And I think one thing that personally struck me was how only 30 minutes after his girlfriend found out about his cheating and probably confronted him, he chose to run upstairs and prioritize Mal, someone he met 2 months ago, all while his girlfriend was crying downstairs, gutted, heartbroken. There's a reason people say with great power comes great responsibility, because once you have this power that Sykkuno possessed, you can so easily take advantage of others. So as a content creator, you have a very clear choice, and unfortunately, Sykkuno decided to be the worst person possible. I wish all the victims in this travesty the absolute best, and I also encourage them to speak out. When it rains, it pours. And right now, the first drop has hit the ground. Sykkuno and anyone else who seeks to take advantage of their position need to be held accountable. And for anyone who grew up watching him during quarantine, who looked up to him, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, ruining whatever ideal image you had of him in your head. In any case, if more victims decide to speak out, then I will most likely stream me reading all of them on my channel later on. For the time being though, please, if a larger content creator reaches out to you, even if you don't make content, please always be extremely skeptical and know that they probably don't see you as the most special person in the world. They've probably done this to many others already. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really, really appreciate it. If you want a healthy alternative.
Yeah, this was a really, he handled this so well. Mujin, I'm going to go ahead and put his video in the chat. The victims trusted him with this story, so I'm going to go ahead and share his video. Great video. I'm thinking about the victims, all of them. There's got to be more. There always is. And I'm so sorry about that. For everybody who wants to try to victim blame her at the end there and say, why doesn't she cut him off? Sounds like she already did, but it's not uncommon. It is pretty normal. It's how things go. And that's why I say, girlies, you can't fix him. And gentlemen, you can't fix her. But even more than that, you are, not to be a armchair therapist, but you were playing out your childhood in the form of fixing adults that needed to go to therapy. You need to go to medical professionals, okay? We need to go to medical professionals because they will tell us about our childhood and how our brain works and why we do the things we do. And only then can we break generational cycles of trauma and in hopes to start anew, to have a new, she's so young, right? Now look, is Sykkuno, because we do philosophy through pop culture here, could he change as a person? Anybody could change. The probability of him changing, very low, very low. Could he? Always. But it would require such a very scary look in the mirror. And we've seen it with time and time again. I have yet to see any, I can't think of one right now off the top of my head, but I can't think of a singular streamer bro who was caught in exactly similar positions or this position who after years and years and years ever reflected or changed. I can't think of any. I really can't. So maybe I'm not thinking about somebody, maybe I don't know somebody's lore, but I cannot think of any man in this position who's done anything even related to this, who's ever made that change. Okay? And I'll just speak for my own, for the men in my life that are adjacent to this cheating, hitting on young people bubble, they also haven't. Okay? I've got 2 brothers for the record, 2 that have hit on teenagers. 2. Okay. And I haven't talked to one of them since 2019. And the other one, I think it's been a couple years. I forget to check. But, so just for the record, I love my brothers. We shared a womb. I will always have fond memories of them, but I can't have people like that in my life. I can't have them actively in my life. I will go to their funerals, but I will not ever allow their name to be mentioned without mentioning what they've done. So there are no social situations in which Brittany will ever allow this to slide because they have yet to ever make any attempt to get better. And they have only ever victim blamed when it's been brought up. They have only ever blamed the victims. Okay? And that's the point. And by the way, just a reminder, I'm also not talking to my parents because they also won't face the boys. I've given my parents so much time to face what their sons did, and neither of them will do that either. So I haven't talked to them since, November? I love my parents. But this shit happens. It's in your families. It's in your friend groups. I'm sorry to tell you this right now. I know hundreds of people personally, let alone in my streamer-related life. You probably know a person in this position. You probably know a predator. We have to do our due diligence because they're everywhere. And what's worse is the community will protect them because the community doesn't want to ruffle feathers. And yes, we have good memories with a lot of people that are predatory. Guys, predators aren't creepy people in bushes. Most of the time, they're very nice people who make the get together a better experience until you bring up what they've done. They make gaming, you know, streams amazing. They make a Saturday night a lot more fun. They're nice to you in DMs. They tell funny jokes. They're great. You know what I mean? Like they're regular people. Especially living in a world where we train our boys from a young age to be predatory, we have to do our due diligence. Let's be real. If you look at the way we've parented kids, we've parented our boys into thinking predatory behavior was a part of their gender expectation. This is why I say gender is a construct. You have constructed your children into a future of predatory behavior by normalizing pinching butts, being mean to girls as a way of saying you like them. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Why are you setting up your kids for failure? And that's because you yourself were probably set up for failure. We didn't just, you know, pop into existence, right? We're a product of everything that came before us. This is why I love philosophy, because philosophy is the only tool, the only construct at play here. I mean, obviously in you have to also utilize mental health and all that other stuff, but it's the greatest way to say, what actually are my values? What do I actually think is wrong or bad or good? And how do I make the right decision, right? It's really hard and you'll be tested for the rest of your life. So make sure you know your values. So the next time this opportunity comes, you don't hesitate to protect the vulnerable people in your life that exist, you know? All right, that's my monologue. That's the story. I'm glad we covered it. Shout out to the victims. I wish everybody luck. Please go to therapy. Please take care of yourselves. You deserve it. All that good stuff. And this is hard. Being in the public, having this happen in real time, having streamers react to it. Yes, we want to bring attention because this guy's a public figure. But remember, now these victims, they don't get to hold their story private. Now it is now they will be doubted. Now they will be torn apart. Every sentence they say will be an excuse. I already saw misogynists make reaction videos to this, like some short ones. And they were already downplaying it. She's a gold digger. She took money. It's a legal relationship. Like, how can she be a victim? And I'm saying, don't listen to those voices. Focus, lock in. Those men will never respect you. Those men will say cheating is bad, but no buts. Don't watch those videos. Focus. Watch this video instead. Go to therapy. Read a book. Throw yourself into your work. Continue your education. I know she said she was a student. Continue your education and build a life that's worth living. Okay? Bro. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How easy, though, is it for us just to ignore the abuse of it all, huh? It's so easy. With that said, I actually got to go because I have to edit my commentary video on, hey, but the boys are really hurting, though. I think that's what I'm going to title it. The boys are really hurting, actually. I'm just terrified for all these young teenage boys on roids, all these guys on fucking Tran, all these boys suffering for the patriarchal beauty standard. And they're all like, well, if I die at 30, I die at 30. Fuck. We're so far gone, you know? The story of that teenage step brother killing his sister on a ship, the fuck? That's crazy, right? You know what I mean? Like, just one story after another coming out. And I'm like, these are boys. These are teenagers. These are kids. And the Metasphere and all these boys selling courses are absolutely, literally victimizing your children. It's so sad. Like, it's so sad. Oh, anyways, a good rule of thumb before I head out. It doesn't even matter if it's like a good person, because even good people do this, right? Look at Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. Like, it took a lot of strength for a lot of us to go back and review that and realize, like, fuck, Amber Heard was the victim. Damn, I can't believe I fell for that, right? I'm not going to blame people if they fall for the story. And yet, as viewers, you don't have to watch them while they figure it out. If I am ever in the situation where, like, I'm not seeing it and I have the wrong opinion, you do not have to watch me on stream while I figure it out. You can leave and come back when I figure it out, because I will always figure it out. Okay? And I want you just to remember that, like, you don't have to follow the victims. That's not how you need to support. You can donate to shelters and charities and something else. Like, you can support victims by doing something great for your community. You know, you don't have to show support by, because I see that sometimes where people want to reach out to the victim, they want to follow the victim on social media. Like the victim might not be in the right place to experience that amount of follow, right? The victim might still need space to get out of their toxic cycle with their abuser. So, just give people space to grow, but give yourself space to also show up for your community more in real life than even in this online situation, right? With that said, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, take care of yourselves. And once again, shout out to the victims. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Bye.